Well, welcome to Season 4 of the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. It kicks off here at round number 1 at the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park here at the Bend in South Australia. It's just over an hour out of Adelaide, and joining me here in the commentary team, Scott Pye. Welcome to the series.
Thank you very much, mate. It is unreal to be here at the Bend Motorsport Park. It's a fantastic circuit that I'm fortunate to have done a lot of laps around here, but already roaming up and down the pit lane, chatting to some of the competitors. They're very excited about this season getting underway, and yeah, we've just had TA2 finish in the background behind us from practice. It's pretty exciting stuff underway already.
Some of the names we're going to look at in TA2. Tyler Cheney, who last time he was here was actually in a co-driver event with Jared Hughes 18 months ago. They took the win there, so he's been super fast in practice. Alice Buckley, who's back to do a full season campaign as well. She's incredible. Yeah,
there's a few guns out there, actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing as well Ben Gomersall, obviously a Super 2 driver from last year, and he's stepping back into the TA2, multiple race winner as well for him. But Tyler Cheney's off to a good start. We chatted a little bit off air, though, where they've had green tyres, but who knows who's got something in the back pocket for qualifying later this afternoon, this morning.
It all comes down to those tyres, doesn't it? Especially when they start on a fresh bank of green tyres. Of course, we've got some brand new rules and regulations this weekend as well, which we'll get to talk about. But it's got to be an exciting round when you have 6 categories coming to your first round of the championship. We've got things like the Yokohama AASA Formula Ford Championship as well. Now, that's a bit close to your heart.
It is, and it's great to see Yokohama getting behind the championship as well and supporting young drivers trying to start their career. Most of them, they are going to be starting their career in motorsport, and Formula Ford, I think, is a great stepping stone. It's definitely a relevant championship here in Australia, and I'm excited to see some momentum, I guess, get behind these guys. It's something that Marcus Ambrose and myself have chatted about a lot, and we're passionate about Formula Ford. It's close to my heart. I competed for a number of years, state Formula Ford, national Formula Ford, so I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the young talent get their careers underway in what is a championship close to my heart.
A couple of races we actually got underway yesterday for some of our categories. There's a bit of a change when we come to this season. Of course, the TFH Hire Legend Cars Australia, they had a couple of races yesterday, a couple of incidents as well in that one. We've seen a couple of cars already retired, which is unfortunate. We've got the Hankook Australian Drivers Championship. Now, you've actually had a steer of one of those cars. They are an exciting little thing to get around, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Just quickly on the Legends cars, I'm a big fan of those things. I know that some of the races later in the year, I'd love to dip my toe in and have a steer of it, because I actually drove one back at Norwell a long time ago. Jamie Wincup and I banged doors in one, and they are an absolute blast. The racing yesterday was super close. One massive crash, unfortunately, which is disappointing, but over 30 cars, stacked field. But yes, I've driven the Hyper Racer, unbelievable car, and yeah, I mean, I've got itchy feet here, but it's great to see some of the competitors, and the amount of racing laps they're getting this weekend is number one. That's so important. We can't underestimate how much effort and financial backing these guys need to be competing. So I love the priority on racing laps and making sure drivers are getting their bang for buck here.
So the Formula RX-8s join us back. We didn't have them last season, but it's great to have them back on our card as well. We've also got, joining us once again, the Innovation Race Cars, who are just phenomenal, a GT3 style car, and they've actually had a lot of Porsches. Even McLaren joined us here this weekend. Yeah,
I'm going to keep a close eye on that, actually, because I think there's a lot of different ways to look at that championship, and I think there's people that are looking at creating momentum in their career and maybe looking for that next step, and this is a fantastic championship for it. But there's also the opportunity for co-drivers as well. I think we could see some real top levels drivers come into that championship. Harry Jones is one of those guys as well. But yeah, there's a good level of drivers in that field and good mixture.
And of course, the TA2 Racing Muscle Car Series joins us once again. But I suppose let's talk about some of the big changes for the 2026 season. I know you've been polishing up on this, some new rules and regulations. One of those is we're not going to have any standing starts. It's always going to be a rolling start. There's a start zone as they come onto the main straight, and they've basically got a 100-metre zone where the leader can actually start the race.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors that you need to consider with a rolling start. I think financially for the teams it's good. You're putting a lot less load through the gear off the line. The speed into turn one's going to be a lot higher, so there's some things for the drivers to consider there. But I'm a big supporter of it, because it ultimately allows the show to keep moving faster. We don't have cars stationary out here in the main straight. We're going to keep the show moving, and I think I'm a fan. I think it's 2 warm-up laps the guys and girls will get out there straight into their rolling start. So I'm a big supporter of that. But the next thing is the racing, the yellow card system. I'm really excited about seeing that come into play this weekend, and yeah, I think what they're trying to do here is just encourage races being racing. It's effectively a warning system. 2 yellows, third one's a red card. That's where you get your serious infringement. But later in the day, we could see people on, maybe a clean slate and being able to use up some of their mulligans, I guess, their yellow cards, to push hard and try and get a win or gain that extra spot.
I tell you what, it is going to be really easy for the people at home. I think it simplifies things for the drivers, for the teams, for the people at home. You see a red card, you know you're getting in trouble for something,
yeah.
right? But if you've got a couple of yellows up your sleeve, those final couple of corners, will you push your luck? So I think that'll play out over the weekend. People have already got them too. So there's already been a few naughty people out there.
Yeah, there'll be some strategy in how you use those up. It's no different for the fans listening. If you're familiar with supercars and a curb strike system, I think it's very similar to that, but it's a little bit more obvious, if anything, because you've got a tangible item with the yellow card that people will be able to see and understand, and then the drivers as well. They'll start to learn the limit. And for sure, at the end of the races, if you've got some up your sleeve, that's where I think we could see some more aggressive racing. And ultimately, that's what we want, right? As race fans, we want to see the guys being aggressive on track, but knowing a clear limit is really important for the drivers to understand.
Well, speaking about some of the effort we're going to see out on track, we've got 6 rounds in 2026 to get through, of course, to kick things off here at the Bend in South Australia. We head up to Queensland for the 2 days of Thunder on the 1st to the 3rd of May. Then we're back down to Sydney Motorsport Park under lights on July 17 and 18. That's fantastic nighttime racing there as well. Then we head back up to Queensland Raceway for Fight in the Night in August. Over to Winter Motor Raceway, really the home of the AASA series there in September, and we finish things off at, well, what is an historic Calder Park Raceway in November to round out 6 rounds for season number 4. It's a nice sunny 16 degrees right out here in the sun at the moment. Absolutely perfect conditions to go racing. So let's do that right now. We're qualifying underway for the Formula Fords. Let's head up to Dan McCarthy in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Matt. Very much looking forward to getting into this weekend's action, and that we are doing right now with the Formula Fords on the track. The Yokohama AASA Australian Formula Ford Championship. Jumping alongside me for this one, he's made the mad rush from the pit lane. Scott Pye, a category you know well.
I do, certainly, yeah. Catching my breath there, a little trot from the pit lane to be ready for the commentary here with you, mate. But very excited to see this. This is a championship. It is close to my heart. I did a lot of time in Formula Ford, but also means a lot to me because this is where we'll get to see a lot of the young drivers start their careers and hopefully see them at the pinnacle of motorsport here in Australia or somewhere else around the world after starting out Formula Ford.
So many stars have come through this series over the years. You look back to the 70s, Larry Perkins, through into the 80s and 90s, Mark Larkham, Russell Ingall, and then through the 90s, Stephen Richards, Craig Lowndes, Garth Tander, Jamie Whincup, Mark Winterbottom. The list just goes on and on and on.
It absolutely does, and it's one of those things that some people have tried to argue that globally it's lost its relevance, but for me, I personally believe this is a fantastic category to start out in. This is where we see drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen hype around the three pedals and using your feet to minimise rear lock and things like that. This is where you learn those skills. This is where I personally learned how to heel and toe in a race car, and they're skills that I've carried forward now to supercars and even, you know, when I went to Formula 3, Formula 4 was a great stepping stone for me to get into the bigger category. So, yeah, I think that everyone here should be very excited. It's a great opportunity to be in a fantastic circuit as well. The Bend Motorsport Park is one of the best we've got in the country, and I really like this West circuit as well. Turn 6, great opportunity to pass. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this and what the drivers will be learning here this weekend. Yeah,
first time the Hi-Tec Super Series has used this shorter West layout. Of course, it's going to be used by supercars for the 500k race in a few months' time. So it's going to get a bit of a workout this year, but it has proved popular. It was used during the COVID season of supercars. You raced on it that season. It does produce good racing.
It really does, and I think what you lose by not running on the slightly larger circuit is certainly not overtaking zones. I think if anything on this track, we gain one by having turn 6 a little bit tighter. The braking zone in there as well is really tricky to get right, but you've got a little bit of runoff to use. So if you're trying to overtake and pass, you can actually, I guess the margin for error is a little bit greater. So I think it produces great overtaking. It also means a shorter lap, so the drivers will just be pushing the entire way around, because sometimes those long right-handers, you're having to conserve and look after your tyre a little bit for the rest of the lap.
We're seeing at the moment their final practice session of the weekend so far. Practice number 3 for them, and then straight after this they'll have a short break, and then we'll be into qualifying, a short, sharp qualifying session. So these guys will be making a few changes maybe in that break, and then straight back out trying to maximise for the 2 races later on this afternoon. Oh, bit of a mistake there, running wide into that turn number 6. It's a tricky braking zone.
It really is, and you can actually get quite a big slipstream in these cars through turn 5 as well, because you can see they don't have a lot of downforce. There's no wings hanging off the front and rear of these things, so they can follow extremely close. The speed that they're approaching turn 6 at is actually pretty high. So we said, I was mentioning just before, you can go quite deep there because the margin for error, you're kind of lucky you've got that runoff, so you can start to test your braking zones early in the weekend like this right now.
That was Ollie Wickham that made a mistake. He'd be a familiar name to quite a few people watching on. He won the Toyota GR Cup last year, so moving from the tin top category into Formula Ford, and he's decided to bring it into the lane. No improvement on this lap, and we can see quite a few people now electing to come into the pits, have a bit of an extended break in the middle to make a few more changes maybe before they head out for qualifying.
I was actually just thinking there, as a race car driver, you set yourself up thinking you've got a tow, especially in Formula 4, the slipstream is so important, and then the guy in front of you peels off. It's the worst case situation, especially at the bend, because the front straight's really long, and the tow is such an advantage. So, yeah, but you can see some people are starting to pit now. No one will be taking tyres yet. Everyone will be waiting until qualifying. Big fan of that. I think when you restrict the amount of tyres and it's even across the field, it's great for cost cutting at this level of motorsport, but also means there's a bit of pressure in going into qualifying, not knowing what you've got and having to adapt as quickly as possible. Great skill to be learning this early.
Great looking car, this one, the Versa Motorsport car. Hunter Salvatore behind the wheel of this machine. He raced in the series last year. It's interesting this year. We've got quite a few returning names, but we do have a lot of newcomers, whether that's the likes of Ollie Wickham that have come from other categories or just newcomers to motorsport full stop. There's quite a few of them here this weekend as well, so making a huge step straight into national Formula Ford competition.
It is a big step, and it's great, actually. This is back to being a national championship. I don't think we can underestimate how important that is. But we've got a big field as well, 17 cars. It is great to see such a stacked field in Formula Ford, the momentum behind it again. But like you said, I think it's one of those championships where a young driver can come in, though, and adapt quickly and compete against people that have been here for multiple seasons. And I remember that from when this was on the Supercar calendar, how often you'd see a young driver arrive and be able to just find the lap speed and deliver and put himself at the front. And that's where Formula Ford, I think, separates some of the great drivers to the rest, because they're able to adapt, and that's where this is a really important championship for a young driver developing.
Absolutely, absolutely it is. Yeah, just to come on to that point, so last year with the Super Series, it was the Hi-Tec Super Series Formula Ford Series. It's called the Stars and Renegades Series. It proved very popular, the format, the fact it was on free-to-air TV, on pay TV, as well as live streamed. A lot of young kids saw this as a really good opportunity. So in the off-season, as a result, it is now the National Formula Ford Championship. So, and with it, we've seen big number increase, 17 for round number 1, and I'm already hearing, Scott, that we might have a handful more for round number 2.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I think it's really important to see that status given back to the championship, because it really does mean a lot to be an Australian champion, and there's a lot of drivers that have gone on to fantastic careers that can hang their hat on Australian Formula Ford Championship. So the competition has always been tough, but you need the depth in the field, and I think that's what we're starting to see come back this year. So you can also see right now, I mean, the cars, they don't weigh very much. So this is where I was saying about how important it is for a driver to start developing their skills about how to manipulate the race car, find the lap time, and get the most out of it, because you can see how easy it is to lock a front. We're seeing rear instability, and I've spoken to a few guys in the lane. One thing they're really struggling with here at the moment is actually tyre graining in the front of the car. So they started on a green tyre on the weekend, and then they've started to, I guess, use their tyre bank and tyre wear up, but so it's trying to put some turn back into the car. But that'll be something to be interesting when they go into qualifying. Hopefully, a lot of the crew members down there haven't tuned the car to an old tyre too far, and when they put the green on, it lights up. But tyre graining on the front, you can see there a little bit actually on the tread. Sorry, it is understeer will give you a little bit of that on the front tyre, and that's something some of these Formula Ford guys are struggling with a bit.
So checker flag has been flown for the practice session. Seth Burkhart's topping the timesheets, but very tight between he and Isaac Demelweek, directly behind, just 53 thousandths between them. Will Owing, one of the front runners last year, he finished with 4 second-place finishes in the final weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. So he's hoping to continue that momentum into this season. It's just he and his father. It's just a little privateer team, and they do a fantastic job. And then first of the newcomers after that, Sam March in 4th and Giuseppe Imbrognio in position number 5 in car number 5, as we see that driver coming into the lane now. And then we will head out for qualifying. There's a bit of a dip there, isn't there, just on the outside of the curb, and in a Formula Ford, you'd certainly feel that.
Yeah, I actually popped my head into the pit lane yesterday and spoke to a few of the teams, and there were some drivers popping in actually into the pit lane with some vibrations after dropping a wheel off. So you do need to be careful. The biggest thing is going to be in the racing later on today, and interlocking wheels, things like that in Formula 4, they are very exposed, so it's quite easy to make a little mistake there. But the track edges at a bend are normally pretty good. The one place I would be really careful, though, is in the race when you're behind someone dropping a wheel off out of turn 5, because that really does dig out quite bad. But onto the front straight, I'd like to think that most of the guys can keep it on there. But in qualifying, they're going to be pushing the limits, so maybe that is where we'll see some of them make an error.
Yeah, absolutely. Melinda Price is back with us for season 2026 down there in the pit lane. To you, Mel.
And as you guys were saying, the up-and-coming generation here in Formula Ford are in very good hands. One example right here, last year's champion, Kobe Williams, on the other side of the other side of the car this time.
Yeah, 100%. It's certainly a bit different being on the radio and driver training Brad and Rio this year. So certainly excited for the new challenge ahead, and certainly missing being out there for sure.
Got itchy feet already?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, it'd be fantastic to watch you help these guys. As I said, they're in wonderful hands, and hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic to see Kobe back running a two-car operation, but he will still be racing. He's signed a deal to race in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge this year, so he's moving up through the ranks, exactly what we spoke about. It's the breeding ground for future talent.
It is. You've just got to look at the long list of successful drivers we've had here in Australian motorsport, and a lot of them have started their career in Formula Ford. So I am certainly a big advocate, and I'm excited to see so much depth in the field, and see what's going to come out of this weekend and the rest of the season.
Yeah, he said late last year he's going to try and run his own team. So he's got Rio Campbell, who you can see there on the screen. He's a newcomer to Formula Ford competition, a very, very good Hyundai XL driver. So this is his first weekend in a Formula Ford. And then behind that, Brad James, who last year was part of the Marcus Ambrose Motorsport Formula Ford team alongside Tabitha Ambrose. So this season has moved into Kobe Williams' squad. So back for his second full season in Formula Ford competition is Brad James, another ex-Hyundai XL front runner. Tabitha Ambrose herself has now moved to the team run by Mike Borland, and she's got a lot of good people around her this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes in the Pertec-sponsored Formula Ford.
And it's a fantastic-looking race car, that one. What an iconic livery the Pertec car is. But I did stick my head into the Borland Transporter earlier, and I bumped into John Martin, friendly face of the pit lane. And, he's someone that, obviously had a very successful career in his own right, Australian Formula 4 champion, and is now somewhat, mentoring and helping these young drivers develop their talent behind the wheel.
Mel, back down to you.
Another familiar face in pit lane, Max Vidot, Carrera Cup and other things, but down here this weekend again helping out in Formula Ford. What's your role?
I'm just a humble mechanic this weekend, so Kobe was down to mechanic. He's always helped me out with places to stay in Melbourne, stuff like that, so I'll give him a hand with this, and yeah, it's all good fun.
Any plans for you this year?
Nothing driving-wise. Engineering the TFH cars in Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge, so that's keeping me busy enough. But I'm sure if something jumps up, I'll jump at it straight away. But yeah, at the moment, nothing on the cards.
Oh, well, fantastic. These guys are so lucky to have people like you and Kobe and all the other famous names that are around helping them out this season, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, the TV time you get in this category now is pretty cool, and it's a big step forwards for the category, which is nice. And for this team, obviously, Kobe dominated the series last year, so it's good for these young guys to get information from him and learn from him. So, yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. Great to have you here. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, great to see Max Vidot here. Of course, a Porsche Carrera Cup Australia race winner and a series champion as well. Another ex-Formula Ford champion from back in 2017. How time flies already. A good few years ago, but it sounds to me like engines were just beginning to fire up, so we can see last-minute tyre pressure changes being made and nice, slick, new, fresh tyres being fitted to these machines. So we're about to get serious, Scott.
We are, and the exciting thing here is the drivers actually get an opportunity over a number of laps to lay a good time down, because I was speaking to John Martin earlier and he said that the tyre wear is not massive around here. The surface is quite smooth, so you still do get a little bit of thermal wear, but the drivers will be able to push for multiple laps, and be interested to see. I think 23.1 was the 1 minute 23.1 was the fastest time in practice just before, so we'll see what the guys can do on a green tyre now.
We are ready on the horn. Green flag is waving. Qualifying is underway. 15 minutes is the time that they will have to try and take pole position. No knockout formula. We'll be doing a bit of a shootout tomorrow, but this is just simple qualifying. 15 minutes. Whoever's at the top at the end takes pole position.
It's a pretty straightforward format, isn't it? Fastest to the front, slowest to the rear. But this is the moment that every driver loves. This is the one thing as a co-driver now that I certainly miss, the adrenaline, the feeling of trying to maximise a brand new tyre. This is the moment that every driver just should be thriving in, but most looks forward to this for sure.
Now, one thing we haven't touched on yet, we've spoken about how this creates great racecraft and everything, but even in qualifying, it's important in these cars to find yourself a tow.
More so than any other championship, I would say, anywhere in the country. So slipstream here is going to be vital, and it won't be as important tomorrow with the knockout format, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but today is definitely going to be about getting a tow at the right time, and not being too close either, because the slipstream, you can underestimate the advantage you'll get. If you're too close to someone in the braking zone, you can equally lose time. So front straight here is very long. We touched on turn 5. You can follow very close through there without the aero wash in these cars. So slipstream is going to be the deciding factor here. I think it was 0.05 between first and second in practice in the last one there. So the slipstream could decide who's first, second, or even the second row.
Absolutely. Through the fishbowl, turn number 9, IRC corner, as it is known. And look, they're trying to wait, trying not to be the leader as they come across the line. This is going to be quite interesting. I think teams could potentially work together. If you've got a team of 3 or 4, you could potentially do a bit like a cycling race where one leads for one lap, one leads for the next lap. If you're a single car outfit, though, you've got to try and work with them. And look, nobody here wants to lead the way. This is Lockie Manif. He certainly doesn't. And there we go.
Someone's taking the bait.
Yep, Giuseppe Imbrogno has taken up the running at the front, which is exactly what Manif was after. So he's got a bit of a tow, and everybody behind him does. He is the only one, Imbrogno, out in the front that does not have a tow. The tyres, how many laps would they take to come up? Would you need a second lap?
Well, Johnny was telling me you could do around 10 laps on these and actually still pump out fast time. So if I was one of the drivers right now, I would be pulling a dummy here and pretending like I'm going on the first lap, and then maybe out of turn 3 pulling over quickly to try and gain track position and get a slipstream off someone else, because I was surprised that anyone took the bait on that opening lap. Everyone's trying to do the same thing. I did see 4 cars in the distance actually pulled to one side, so I'm assuming that they're friends of each other. But I definitely remember even Simmons Plains once back in the day, Mike Borland I drove for, tore strips off me for giving a slipstream to one of the Sonic drivers. It was Nick Percat at the time. So I've made the mistake myself of giving it to someone that you don't want to help out. But yeah, you're certainly looking for friends. This early in the run, though, I think you could sacrifice your early laps to get track position and try and get a tow maybe on lap 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree with those remarks. We can see the graphics have been updated for this season. We can see exactly what everybody is doing at every moment. Purple, obviously, is the fastest of all. Green is PB, and if it's red, well, that's no good at all. That is no improvement in a sector. 3 sectors across the course of this lap, and they're quite short, sharp sectors. Sector number 1 is just from turns 1 through to 3. Sector 2 is from 4 through to 8, and then the sort of stadium section, as I call it, is the final sector on the lap. As here comes the number 15, nicely timed there from Sam March, who moves his way to the front. That was a nicely timed tow down there towards turn number 1.
It was. We've had a little bit of a form guide. I guess everyone's later time, and 24.5 is quickest at the moment, which sort of comes back to what I was saying. That first lap was never going to be the ultimate lap time out of the tyre, so I think it was a good opportunity for some of the smarter guys out there on track to get their track position and set themselves up for this next lap. So we will see if lap 2 is much of an improvement and who found track position to get a tow at the right time.
Indeed, we will down into the West Circuit. They've been told no track limits on the exit of that curb, so we've seen with some categories over the years they have to keep to the right-hand side, don't use the tarmac runoff. These guys, all of the categories have been let off the leash. Use as much tarmac as you want. It's there for you to be used.
I absolutely love that, if I'm honest, because unless there is actually a definitive line and beacon down there that sets off a transponder, judge of fact is just... I'm not a big fan of it. I think when Judge of Fact comes into it, I-line isn't the best judgment. So let the drivers all have the same rule, and that's up to them then to maximise it as much as possible. And it does get to the point where it's self-penalising. You can only take so much. So I think it's great. It's consistency across the board, and we can start to see how many drivers can get on top of the track limits.
And it's good for us as well, because it's always a pain. Oh, track limits. They're just going for it. We just call the action as it is, and that's exactly how we like it here in the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. Season 4, 2026, off to a flying start. Isaac Demelweek is at the top of the timesheets at the moment. And he came in mid-season, midway through last season, and he was on the pace immediately, right towards the front, and did get himself a podium in the final round, or I think it might have been Malalar, actually, the penultimate round. So, yeah, he's one to look out for this season. A very young driver. Also does a bit of Toyota 86 Scholarship Series racing as well. And he's handy in those as well. So, very interested to see how he goes this season. He's just ahead of Ollie Wickham at the moment. But they're all building up. We look at the timing screen. It's all personal bests and purple sectors out there at the moment.
It is 23.1. We've seen a massive improvement lap time. But we've got Rowe at the moment on an absolute flyer, so I'm interested to see what he comes out with at the end of the lap. Yeah,
Jamie Rowe, one of the front runners last year, certainly one of the favourites based on last year's results. He took a lot of podium finishes in last year's season. Over the course of the year, he claimed an impressive 5 podiums over the course of the year, and he's just gone to the top of the timesheets by just under 0.2 of a second. In fact, he was purple in all 3 sectors, so very nicely done, strung all of them together.
Yeah, I think he positioned himself really well there. He managed to get a tow without any traffic across the entire lap, and that's the result. Perfectly timed, lap 3, and that's why I say that it's funny on the first lap, everyone's fighting for track position. I think throwing the dummy early and pressing on, and then finding track position for lap 3 looks perfect. But 22.8, these guys are absolutely motoring out there.
Certainly are. Down into turn number 6. Normally a great overtaking opportunity. In qualifying, though, if you stick one up the inside, you're only going to compromise each other's times out there. So you don't want to make a rash lunge. You want to stay behind and get yourself a tow for the next sequence of corners. So at the moment, it's Rowe from Wickham, Demelweek. Caleb Bellac returns, the youngster, another father-son run team. Oh, off the track, that is De Boré, who is facing backwards. That looks like around the infield, so not quite sure how he has ended up there. So, yeah, he must just lost 3 through turn number 6. Here is a replay of it. Ah, yes, just too wide on the grass, and around goes young Ryan De Boré.
Doesn't take too much. He dropped 2 wheels in the dirt. It's a pretty inevitable ending, I think. But, yeah, he'll get back out there and press on. Great to see De Boré out there. Great to see Adam De Boré in the pit lane yesterday as well, working with his young bloke. It's makes me feel old. I remember chatting to Adam when he was my engineer back in DJR, and his young bloke was quite a lot younger there. So time does go fast, but it's great to see him on track and see Adam in the pit lane as well, swinging spanners for his young bloke.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Adam yesterday. He says, to be honest, I didn't really have much time with my son all through his karting career, and then he really started delivering some good results, and that's when I knew my son had talent, and I thought I'd focus a bit more on him. That's when he stepped back from supercars engineering and now solely focuses on his son's career, which is really, really nice to see. Oh, big lock up there by Jamie Rowe. He's certainly continuing to push. He didn't improve on the last lap. Oh, he did just a little bit on the last lap, just by a couple of hundredths. So he's extended that margin out in front. But Demelweek's the one on a flyer at the moment. Car number 36 out there on the racetrack.
This is impressive that on this tyre they're able to just keep pushing the way they are. But credit to Jamie to be able to get 3 laps out there and improve on every one without getting traffic. He judged, and I said at the beginning how hard it is to judge how big the closing speed will be and how far behind you need to be of the car in front to not catch them too quick on your push lap. He managed to get 3 laps in the bag, and a 22.5 is a pretty impressive time there without capturing traffic. Made a slight mistake, but that next lap was even looked like he was in a good position.
Isaac Demelweek was on an absolute flyer in purple in the middle sector, but sadly no improvement in the final sector. He did improve on the lap time, but no positions gained. In fact, he's actually lost a couple because up has come March and also Seth Burkhardt as well. So down to position number 6. It's just chopping and changing with every single lap at the moment, which is what we expected to see. It's interesting, there's sort of packs been formed, hasn't there? They're sort of 3x3 out there at the moment.
It has. The tricky thing is, when you're in front right now, you're probably in the optimum time for the tyre. You might be 1 lap past it maybe, but you know you're in the wrong position to do a lap time. You're really just towing people around. So you've got to fight for position I think we could see him right now start to give up some track position to get that toe back and see if there's anything left in the tyre out there.
That is the question. How much is there left in the tyre?
Yeah, and there we go, he's pulled to the inside.
Yeah, so he's after a toe on pit straight this time through. And there we can see Ben Bargwanna, of course, himself was in this category not too long ago. He's on the cans to Tabitha Ambrose this season. So John Martin and Ben Bargwanna both helping out Tabitha Ambrose, who finds herself just outside the top 10 at the moment in position number 11. Last year she ran 45 to celebrate Pertec's 45th anniversary. This year, as we're a year later, 46 is the number, and it's a new livery. It's Marcus Ambrose's tribute livery from his 2004 Supercars season.
Very special livery, that one. That is an iconic. I grew up watching that car. I was lucky enough to actually drive Marcus's Pertec livery at Phillip Island, and it is, I mean, it's iconic, isn't it? There's a few liveries throughout our history in Motorsport in Australia, and that is one of them that really does stand out. I think it's 2004, 2003, that era of Marcus was just at the peak of his game. So very cool to see that on track on a Formula Ford now as well, with Tabitha behind the wheel.
Absolutely. She got to drive her dad's NASCAR at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival just a couple of weeks ago, and she very much enjoyed that. She gets behind the wheel of anything she possibly can, a very keen driver, whether it's a Formula Ford or a tin top. And yes, you just spied what I saw as well. Delmawheat on an absolute flyer.
Yeah, I saw that he did sandbag. He put aside his last lap to get track position. He's on a flyer, 26.48 in the middle sector. He's currently sitting on a 23.0, so he's looking for a few tenths here to be up onto that front row, and he's certainly on a good lap here.
I note that Jamie Rowe has come into the pit lane, so is that for him in qualifying? Will we see him come back out? Sometimes see in these short qualifying sessions, people come in, they just put their tyre pressures down a little bit and then send them once again. What does that give you, putting those tyre pressures back down and resetting them?
It really depends on the tyre that you're on. I think at the moment what we're seeing is these tyres seem to be able to last. Demmelweek's just gone up to P3 with his lap, which is seriously impressive. And Johnny didn't lead me astray when he said that you could probably do a 10-lap run here and just continually improve. But sometimes at this level, and it's no disrespect, I've been there myself, but you come in, you have a think about it, you chat to your engineer and re-bleed the tyres, lower the tyre pressures, and you can actually go again. And there's always a little bit more in yourself as well, and we're seeing here at the moment, I mean, there's only 3 tenths back to 5th, so if you can find a tenth or so yourself, you can go back out there and I think lay another time at a good toe that can improve still. So that's what the drivers are doing now. Take a deep breath, have a chat to your engineer and see if there's something left in yourself.
Exactly. Tabitha Ambrose is heading out there right now. It looks like Jamie Rowe might be sent in a couple of moments' time as well. We said Demmelweek was on a flyer. He went purple in the middle sector. He did improve. He's moved up into position number 3, just 8 thousandths of a second off the front row of the grid. Ollie Wickham and Jamie Rowe up there at the moment. There are points on the line for qualifying in the Australian Formula Ford Championship as the cars exit out the final corner. Melinda Price, you got an update for us?
Yes, in the pits here with Ben Bargwanna, looking after Tabitha Ambrose this year. There's 4 minutes to go. Can you tell us what you were saying to her? She's in the top 10 now.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job. Unfortunately, on her good lap, she got held up. So we're just trying to cycle her back to the front of the group, slot in behind another group of cars and get a good tow. So we're kind of resetting, going again. We're just trying to get the timing right to get her back out into a good group there, but she's doing a really good job. She's got heaps of speed, just didn't get to put it together there in the first run.
It always comes down to the last lap or the last few minutes in this category, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There's not much time left now, so we'll see if she can do something, but that's the excitement of this category. It's always action, but I love it.
Thanks, Ben.
Awesome, thank you.
That is exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? It's just about timing it right, being in the right place at the right time. As we see Demmelweek in amongst the traffic at the moment, it looks to me like Imbrogno has just moved ahead of him in that Versa Motorsport machine. He's also moved up. Imbrogno now up to position number 4. So nice improvement from him. We saw him do a bulk of the rounds last year, Imbrogno, but this year he's going to embark on the full season, and it looks like he's made some good improvements in the off-season to sit nicely inside the top 5.
right now we can see Burkhardt's actually on a green middle sector, which is wild. We're 1 minute left in the session and still improving out there, and slightly off in the last sector, but it does show that if the tyre still has enough life in it to set a personal best. So this is quite an interesting session to watch. We're so far in and we're seeing effectively a race out there and a strategy race in itself as well, with drivers trying to find, we heard from Ben Barguano, Tabitha's out there at the moment trying to reposition to get a toe at the right point with some life left in these Yokohamas yet.
It's fascinating if you look at the sector times. Rowe fastest in the first sector. Demouy's got the best sector time in sector 2, and Burkhardt's in the final sector. If those three strung it all together, they'd be on a 22.3. So there's a good quarter of a second if they can all string it together. Still out there on the racetrack. The question is, are the tyres still there? Burkhardt's is on a bit of a flyer at the moment. PB in sector number 1, and he's the one leading this quartet at the moment, getting sideways through Yokohama turn and through IRC Bowl down the hill towards the final couple of corners. This is a really deceiving corner. It's tighter than you think. Uphill brake. You can brake super late, and then you've got to get as early as you can on the power out of the corner and then maximize the run through this final corner as well. You can throw it all away very easily here. Nicely nailed. He comes to the line. Is he going to improve? The answer is yes. He moves up to position number 4.
Seriously impressive to do that out front of Tabitha there without a toe, no advantage. He's done an unbelievable job there to find a PB in it. But talk about that second last corner. That's one of the trickiest corners on the entire track. It's an uphill braking zone. Really push it deep into there and maximize that. But as soon as you get to the apex of the corner, it falls away a little bit. And the frustrating thing is the exit of that's really important, because the last corner is very high speed. So your run out of the second last corner is really important to maximize your run all the way through to the start-finish line.
It's caught out the very best in the business over the years in supercars and all sorts of different categories. So I'm sure we'll see some action there for sure across the course of the weekend. Burkhardt's has set his time. He now moves to the back of the train. I noticed Tabitha Ambrose was right there behind. She'd have been hoping for that toe. The problem was she was jumped by March, so she doesn't have clear road again. She's in that second position. So what Ben Barguano was telling us has not come to fruition. She's not had any clear track.
No, and I think Burkhardt's just that little bit too quick for her to be able to stay in the toe and get the advantage. But right now, I mean, these three, if I'm honest, are slightly too close. It's okay to finish the lap here, but at the start of the lap as well, they weren't too much further apart, and you really do need a little bit of a gap so that you can run your own race, effectively run your own lap, and then ideally you can close the gap towards the end and maximise. But that's it. That is the finish there. Unfortunately for Tabitha, she wasn't able to improve after we spoke to Ben Barguano there, and she's finished up down in 13th.
It was an improvement from Hunter Salvatore, just the one position, but that does move him to the inside for turn number 1 later on today. Final laps are coming in. Here's the 333 of Rio Campbell. He finishes his inaugural Formula Ford qualifying session just outside the top 10 in position number 11. Where does that compare to Brad James? Well, the answer is the P10 just ahead, so just behind his more experienced teammate there. So not too bad at all. I think he can give himself a bit of a pat on the back for that one. So there we are. Qualifying has concluded, and it is Jamie Rowe who takes his first pole position, the first pole position of the season by a margin of nearly 0.2 of a second. It's mighty close behind that though. Ollie Wickham, his first Formula Ford qualifying session, he will start on the front row. Isaac Demoweek will start out of third alongside Seth Burkhardt's. Giuseppe Imbrogno will start inside the top 5 ahead of Samuel March, Caleb Belak, Xavier Henderson, we didn't mention him, nicely inside of the top 10 ahead of Hunter Salvatore and Brad James.
Very interesting. Xavier Henderson was one of 2 in the top 10 that did it on lap 10, Seth Burkhardt's as well. So we did talk about that earlier. It's unreal to see them how to push for as long as they can and then be able to spend some time, find the right track position and maximise at the end of the qualifying.
Melinda Price, you're down there with our pole sitter.
I am the first pole of 2026, Jamie Rowe. Tell us about that lap.
Yeah, that lap was good. I just got a good toe, put all sectors together for once, and yeah, I was really happy with it. Huge turnaround from the team. We had a tough start to the year, a lot of testing, and yeah, it's finally paying off, so really looking forward to getting the racing.
A couple of tenths in that one. That's a million miles in Formula Ford, isn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Well, you've started the year off perfectly with the first pole position. Let's hope we can see you on the podium after the first race.
That's the goal, thank you.
Great stuff from Jamie Rowe. Very, very well deserved pole sitter there. And really good to see that he's made that step up in the off-season, and now he is one of the title favourites. He spoke about pre-season testing on the official test day, the Formula Ford test day. Unfortunately, in the first session, there was an oil spillage in front of him, and he ended up clouting the wall, going off on the oil. So he's effectively nearly a day down on some of his rivals. So to do that makes that pole position even more impressive and shows the talent that that young man is. Formula Ford's heading on into the paddock. They've got 2 races later on this afternoon. Melinda Price earlier on today caught up with Jackson Rice.
I'm tipping this guy, Jackson Rice, is going to be the busiest person at Tailem Bend this weekend. Jackson, plenty happening for you, but let's start with the fact that you've got a new team here.
We do, yeah. So, you know, five cars here really for Formula RX8. So, you know, I'm very lucky that, you know, Justin and, you know, gave me the opportunity to be involved with these guys and, you know, have our cars here this weekend. But I'm going to be very, very busy, obviously driving the Hi-Tec Oils car in TA2 and then jumping in one of our rigs here as well. So I'll be flat knackered, but really looking forward to it. And, yeah, it's a cool challenge, so.
And so you had a successful debut in Formula RX8 last year, and thrilled we all are to have them back on the calendar. Is the job yours now to set the bar for the rest of the team for the weekend and show them how it's done?
I think so, a little bit actually. I think the young guys are sort of tailing me up a little bit in practice, so they were quite quick, and even Justin, you know, Justin was really quick as well. So I think we'll be in the mix. There's a lot of really, you know, young, fast guys here, and I think the main thing is just to, you know, make sure we're in the mix, get some data on these cars for these guys. That's the main thing, is me just giving feedback on the cars so we can just help the guys progress and give feedback to, you know, to some of our clients. That's the main thing.
And rule number 1, of course, don't beat the boss. But more excitingly, also, you are running in TA2 in a newly announced Hi-Tec car for the season, and that is fantastic to have you back.
No, it is. It's really, really good. So, yeah, I'm super excited, like, you know, to work with George and the whole Hi-Tec team. Like, that opportunity has been absolutely awesome for me. And, you know, but to also be here with these cars and kick off our own you know, team working with their Formula RX8s is really, really cool. So excited for the whole weekend. Hopefully we get through it cleanly and, yeah, just make some inroads. So it should be cool.
Well, there'll be no shortage of action. We'll be watching all of it. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, Melinda. Bye.
Really good chat down there with Jackson Rice. He's certainly a busy man this weekend, but not as busy as he was supposed to be when Melinda Price interviewed him. He's decided to step back from RX8 racing duties this weekend, and in his place jumps Jensen Engelhardt, who'll be starting at the back for this one. We are on to racing with Formula RX8, the one-make Mazda series. Can't wait to get into this one. They had a race yesterday, and a man who watched a bulk of, or all of that race, I should say, alongside of me is Matt Kavanagh. Matt, good to have you in the box.
Yeah, it's great to be back in here, mate. And what a season number 4 we've kicked off, haven't we, already this weekend? The RX8's got their racing started yesterday. So this is race number 2 for them. Great to see the Yellow Express, number 50, Justin Lewis, back in the mix once again. And there's been a little bit of carnage yesterday too. So there's a couple of cars down there overnight. Dominic Caminiti from South Australia, actually, they are putting a motor in that car right now. It's not quite ready for this race. They just missed out. I was just walking through there and they're putting the fluids into it and doing the final check. So we're hoping to see them back out here this afternoon. So they've been pushing these cars extremely hard in qualifying. This West Circuit, well, it throws up a couple of little challenges, and that turn number 6 is probably going to be one of those where there's going to be some overtaking. You can run a car wide, and I think the yellow card, red card system might come into play later in the weekend. We've got one yellow card in here for Sean Bennett already this weekend. So got to be careful. You can't get too many of those.
Exactly right. 3, and you've got yourself a harsh penalty, whether that be a drive-through or whatever. We can see them forming up now. So 2x2 rolling starts in all of our categories. And here's the grid from yesterday's race results. On debut, Kidell Ambrose took the victory. He will start alongside Stian Creel. Then we've got Matthew Boylett, Justin Lewis, Thomas Derwent, and Super Utes driver Jaden Wanzek.
Yeah, Liam Hall and Stacey Vickers will be on row 4. Amber Griffin in row number 5. And, of course, we will see that new name, Jaden, there will come through his late sort of entry into this one. So it's nice for Jackson Rice to actually step aside. He is the technical manager of the group. So he wasn't going to take any of the fruits out of this championship just because of his position there anyway. And I think he's very busy in that TO2 muscle car. It's been a while since he had to steer one of those. But look, this is going to be a fantastic race. 13B, naturally aspirated engines. This is like an RX-8 road car that you went and bought, and they basically strip the interior out of them, get a roll cage put in them, do a couple of safety things, and let's go racing. That's the beautiful thing about them. It's quite an affordable form of racing to get into. Matty Boylett there you can see on the second row. He's a former Excel state champion and last year's championship winner as well. So watch for him to come off the second row, I think, with this long straight in this starting zone, which we've brought in throughout this season. Have a look at this. They'll lead us away. I'll tell you what, Cadell, he does an amazing job, and you need to watch out for him. He was our #1 qualifier yesterday, led the race from start to finish. But look at this. This is what the difference is as you head down that long straight. Whether you can get a little bit of a toe down there, and it might be an advantage on the outside. How are they going to go under brakes? Creel will go around the outside, the African. Great to have him in the field once again as well, and he's a barrel of laughs as you get down into the pits.
Boylett's followed through as well, so our race 1 winner is being shuffled in the pack. Great exit from Justin Lewis. He might get 2 for the price of 1. It's 3 wide down towards the flat out left-hander. Who's going to yield here? Oh, the answer is Boylett, but only just. Great move back up the inside from Cadell Ambrose. That was high-risk stuff. And speaking of high-risk, back up the inside, a huge dive from Justin Lewis, ultra-aggressive. He reclaims that second position.
And it's going to be a risk at turn 6 because a lot of drivers have spoken about it in qualifying. You want to go wide to get the perfect line. As they're going to go back-to-back, and we're going to see here Ambrose will get the lead back. Justin Lewis, super aggressive. We put the camera on board and it just changes his driving style. He wants to show everyone how aggressive he can be. But that turn 6, the moment you open the door up, someone's going to come down the inside under brakes. So it's going to be very different in race format, as it looks like Matty Boylett's going to have a go down here and get back into that third position.
Wanzek really wide, dropped 2 wheels in the dirt, lost the rear, and nearly came back into the side of Stacey Vickers, who just had to keep to the right to avoid any contact there, and that's going to affect his run. Wanzek's run all the way onto the pit straight now as well, so he's going to lose a further position to Hall in the all-white Mazda RX-8. But we're back on board with the man behind the series, Justin Lewis. He's attacking around the outside of Boylett, but to no avail on this particular occasion. And that was an interesting attempt. It's interesting to see if they're able to do the cutback, maybe get the switch back through turn 2 and have the inside for turn number 3. He certainly wasn't able to do it on that occasion. But the fighting between Ambrose, Boylett and Lewis has allowed Creel to pull a huge margin at the end of lap number 1, over 2.5 seconds. Thank you very much.
And considering there's not really much power difference, it's only going to be like a worn motor versus a refreshed motor at this one. It's a few horsepower. To pull 2.5 seconds in such a short period of time is very impressive from Creel as well. So the fight they're having here for 2nd, 3rd and 4th is really playing into that. Derwin at the back of this one in 5th too. He's going to come into this at some point. I thought it was very smart of Matty Boylett down that front straight to just cover him off a little bit defensively. I think, you know, just to make sure that Justin didn't want to take that dive down the inside. Like you say, you come up over a crest, you get into that corner, and it sort of changes pitch as you go around. So with those changes, whether you want to take that risk this early and whether you want to attract a yellow car potentially for a bit of unsportsmanlike driving, you never know. It's going to be an interesting weekend as this unfolds. We know the man with the van, Justin Lewis, number 50. He's been very fast in the previous couple of years, and he's always got himself a very quick car. His brother was quite good at some improved production racing back in the day too, and I'm sure he's put a lot of theory into how this car sets itself up. But have a look at the toe down the main straight now. We're going to see a few things changing around here. It's a bit further back. Stacey Vickers working his way back through the field now. Looks like he may have got past Liam Hall. He might get this under brakes down the inside run. Hassan in the background. We see Griffin as well in that purple RX-8. It hasn't worked for him on the crisscross, has it?
No, it hasn't, and Wanzek's going to try and attack. He can actually make a move around the outside here at turn 3. It's got a bit of banking to it, a bit of camber, and it means you can hold around the outside and keep the same speed up. He's just had to slot in behind. It was a valiant attempt, but didn't quite pay off for the Super Ute Series race winner. Multiple-time race winner, I must add as well. A real front-runner for a good number of years. Jaden Wanzek is up the inside from Engelhard, another Super Utes driver. First time in the car right here, right now this weekend. And he's making great progress, isn't he? Up from the back of the field into the top 10 comfortably now. Up into position number 9 with that move on our Rookie of the Year from last year, Griffin, one of our female racers.
Have a look at this. I thought there was a bit of Morse code going on for a second there as Wanzek just said to Stacey Vickers, hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me. It doesn't matter whether you're looking in your mirrors or not. I'm just going to let you know how that goes. And what I like is yesterday we saw some really tough racing. Wow, very sideways there, and that's the risk you take if you drop a wheel off. It's Engelhard coming through this field. Look, let's talk about him for a second. I mean, we know, like you say, multiple Super Utes race winner, but hasn't had practice, didn't race yesterday. He's pretty much come in here with no expectation in a Formula RX-8, and look at what he's doing, working through the field from rear.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and he's right behind Jaden Wanzek now. So, yeah, he's right in amongst some good drives. Wanzek moving into this championship this year. A little bit different, a little bit lighter to what they are both used to. They're able to really throw these nimble, agile Japanese machines around. I'm very impressed by Justin Lewis so far this weekend. He seems to have stepped up in the off-season, really taking the fight to some of these established names such as Boylett and some of these new incomers as well. It's really good to see. Yeah, he took a win or two last year, but to see him really fighting at the front like this is good to see.
Yeah, and it's still going to go on. Have a look at this. And of course, that's that treacherous turn number 6. So it's the West Circuit, right? It's where we shortened it down. Last time we were here, we were on the 95 kilometre circuit. We shortened it down. I think it really creates some fantastic racing. That really tight right-hander hairpin there is where we're going to see a lot of overtaking manoeuvres. People run wide. I'm going to say it, some yellow cards will probably be thrown out from that corner. I'm sure that's what's going to happen this weekend, and we're going to bring all those results up to you as well. Have a look at Cadell Ambrose, just taking the fastest lap of the race, trying to chase down Creel, who got away to that 2.6 second lead, which is now down to 1.34 seconds. So chipping away at that, but obviously you can see all the action happening out on here at the moment, and it's a little bit further down there. The fight for the 6th place really is Hall's just leading out Stacey Vickers. So there's so many, I suppose, sections to look at in this race, and they're going to pull out and try and get a gulp of fresh air. We've seen a fair bit of work going on down in the pit, just little things. I think at the start of the season, you know, a couple of water lines there with some pinhole leaks and things like that. So I'll try and look after the brakes on these cars too. That's one of the things that will start to fade away. It's not like they put a massive brake package onto an RX-8. Like I say, it's pretty similar to what you see on a road-going car. So things will change as we go into this, and some of these corners, I think turn number 1, turn number 6 are going to be super interesting to watch as the laps tick down.
Certainly will be. It's pretty fierce in this mid-pack at the moment, isn't it? Oh, Hassan has appeared to me to have looped it around down at the tight corner down there. I thought it was turn number 6 initially, but that's where these cars are, so I think he's a little bit further back down the field. So not sure quite what occurred down there, but nevertheless he has rejoined, and we can continue under green flag conditions, which is what we want.
Yeah, Stacey Vickers just at the front. They can't miss that car. The number 35 just opened up a small gap on Engelhard, and so Engelhard and Wanzek is going to actually fight this out. So Engelhard's working his way through, so he's now up to 8th position from rear of field. So just ticking away, and the laps will go down. Remembering that race number 3, we are going to invert the top 6. So he can potentially get himself up into that top 6 position. Later on today, he'll be starting on front of field.
Matthew Boylett now with the fastest lap of the race. He too is closing in on our race leader. 5 laps to go. We're halfway through the race. 5 laps down, 5 to go in this one. Of course, they're seeing it's a new layout, and we've only had 1 race. These guys are all breaking the lap record from yesterday and doing it quite easily as well. Up the inside, down at turn number 1 is Bennett. Nicely done from him, moving through on Amber Griffin. So that is for position number 9 on the road, but he's made a mistake straight away at turn number 3, lost the rear end on turn-in, missed the apex by a good metre or so, but was able to keep the foot down when it was sliding, kept his foot in it, and as a result kept the momentum up and will hold the position. But that was a lucky escape.
I'm I'm just seeing Wanzek going down in our timing screen too in the number 90, so he has gone down a number of places. So there might be an issue with that car.
He's in the lane.
Yeah, he's in the lane, yeah.
That's not good for Jaden Wanzek. I did see on one gear change a bit of smoke come out the back of the car. I thought that looked a little odd. And then he's brought the car in almost immediately after that. So we saw him falling down the field lap upon lap, and he's certainly a guy of great talent. So that was a surprise to me, and clearly something not quite right with his rotary powered Mazda.
Well, let's get back on board with Justin Lewis. He goes through the gears in 4th place at the moment, having a look at the back of Matty Boylett's number 1 car. Yeah, so the one on the side from last season where he took out the championship in Formula RX8. Cadell Ambrose just in front, who's been dominant this weekend with a pole position and a race 1 win. Creel still over 1 second out in the lead, but they are chipping away this, and I almost feel like the top 4 have decided that, hey, we've got to stop fighting between ourselves. We need to catch the leader first, and we still might have a couple of laps in here to fight this out.
Notably on the last lap, Creel set his PB lap and did so a couple of tenths faster than what he'd done previously. However, behind him, Cadell Ambrose, despite not setting a PB lap, was faster still. So that margin has just been trimmed a little bit more by a couple more tenths of a second. But you can see them, the 4 of them nicely spread out at the moment, but Cadell Ambrose is coming. Can cue the Jaws music, I think, at the moment. He's coming like an angry shark, just steadily catching. Look at that. It's under 1 second for the first time. Now he'll be just about getting in that toe. He'll be getting a nice little slipstream, a nice little helping hand now on pit straight, which is exactly what he will be after. Oh, a bit of lap traffic there, just about staying out of harm's way. That's Dixon in the number 33 machine, James Dixon from New South Wales.
Yeah, new to the category this year as well. He's been a mechanic for Stacey Vickers for a number of years, and I had a spare car lying around. They said, hey, how about we put a cage in, and how about you get behind the wheel? So he has, and he's enjoying his weekend here, this fine weekend where the sun's out, and we're starting to get up to about 20 degrees at the moment. Justin Lewis has a big look on Matty Boylett, but Boylett, that just shows how much experience he's got for a young fellow. Though he's coming out of XLs and last year's racing Formula RX8, he doesn't have a mountain of experience in other categories. Just to be able to position the car there to make it hard for Justin Lewis, who's now really struggling with the back end. As you can see him sliding the car. We're loving watching it. The Yellow Express, the man with a van, Justin Lewis, always puts on a show for us whenever he gets behind the wheel. I don't think we could put the camera in another car, to be honest.
No. He won't let us.
Yeah.
He won't let us anyway, even if we wanted to. So, he's a great character in the lane, isn't he? And he just locked the rears into turn 1 really quite badly. And I think it might have really overheated the tyres, and that's why every time he's then turned at the next few corners, it's really stepped out in the rear. I think he's just got to calm down again a little bit, bring those rear tyres back up to normal temperature, and then he should be all right to have another crack at it. But look at this. Cadell Ambrose has really slashed that margin down, hasn't he, in the last lap, down now to under half a second. And these are great images proudly brought to us by TFH Hire.
Yeah, fantastic broadcast partners there. And have a look at this. Ambrose now lines it up. Can he get a little bit of a toe down the front straight here? Will they try and hug that wall? No, they're going to stay off there on the pole line. They're going to keep going, but Ambrose under brakes. How much is he willing to risk it? He's got a couple of laps up his sleeve, remembering that. Still 2 to go. Has a little bit of a look there. I think Creel just knows that he doesn't have to worry and be too defensive. Don't want to upset the car. Have a look for Ambrose, though, how much that car was moving around under brakes. I'm going to say there wasn't much weight on those back tyres.
No, absolutely not. Cadell Ambrose won the Victorian XL Championship a couple of years ago. He moved into the Scholarship Series last year and had reasonable success, but whoa, that's a big lock-up, a replay down at turn number 6. That was a very near big accident, but Bennett just about kept his car to the left to avoid any contact. Fortunately, we don't have the same for the leaders out there at the front of the field. But yeah, just coming back onto Cadell Ambrose, as say, won the Victorian XL Series a few years ago, did Scholarship Series, but this year moving into Mazda RX-8s, and he's very much enjoying his time in the series. I mean, he's 1 out of 1 so far with race victories, so can he keep up the perfect 100% streak? Well, we're going to find out because time is ticking by. We're about to start the final lap of this race, just 3.41 kilometers ahead of us once they come out of this final corner. The good news for him with this shortened layout of the bend is every single corner is an overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's where he's going to want to risk it. And again, whether we want to just try and unsettle the car, the person in front, where you can play those games. Justin Lewis back in 4th position now, Matty Boylett. So this is for a podium finish here between these two at the moment. The other two have just opened up a tiny gap, and Ambrose is safe again. Boylett, nice and defensive there. Doesn't have to go all the way across the track. So the car's still positioned reasonably well, so he can't try and get that crisscross. And we've seen how loose the number 50 has been of Justin Lewis, but this one's looking a lot more stable, like he's just had a breath when going down the straight. And with 840 metres, you can.
He can't find a gear. He has now. Arm goes up. I could hear it from the outboard. He was just trying to find it. Meanwhile, for the lead, Creel goes defensive. Ambrose will look for the cutback, try and get the inside into the next corner, and he's going to do so. They're going to be side by side through the right hand, nearly door to door as they head into Yokohama turn. Fights back up the inside as Creel, but again, more cutback for Cadel Ambrose, but he just lost the rear at the crucial moment. Just when he thought he had the drive, the rear stepped away from him, but he's not out of opportunities as they head down the hill towards the penultimate corner. Will he send one to the inside? He's certainly forecasting it, but he's not quite close enough. Great battle between these two. Creel gets slightly sideways on the exit, but it doesn't affect his momentum too badly. Barring a big mistake here, he should just about have enough. He should just about hold on, and he will. A great battle between the two. In the end, half a car length is the margin, but it goes the way of Stian Creel. What a battle.
Yeah, that went right down to the wire, and I think for Ambrose, you just saw that car get a little bit loose, didn't you, on that Yokohama corner, turn 8, and that was the moment where he just didn't quite have it. He tried absolutely everything there. Justin Lewis, well, we already saw the frustration, his arm going up in the air there because he knows he missed that gear and he lost his opportunity. But remembering the next race, this is what's going to be important as these cars take the checkered flag. Reverse top 6 in the next race. Now have a look at this. That means Liam Hall's going to start off the front. Derwin off the front row as well. Lewis and Boyle will be in the same position. Creel and Ambrose, who have fought it out the entire race, they're going to be on the 3rd row. So I cannot wait to see race 3 this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracker, isn't it? Very much looking forward to getting into that one. We've got a little bit of a wait before that, as the checkered flag has flown for a large bulk of the field. Now a couple of the lower place drives just coming across the line now in Newton and Dixon. There is the view, great drone images of the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Just over there you can see in the distance is the dragway, but on the circuit, it was Stian Creel that took the victory by just under 0.2 of a second. Matthew Boylett, the reigning champion, finishing in 3rd ahead of Justin Lewis. Thomas Derwin finished in 5th. Liam Hall 6th. Stacey Vickers in 7th. And Jason Engelhardt, great performance from him to finish inside the top 8. There's a change on the last lap. Sean Bennett making his way through on Amber Griffin for 9th.
Yeah, well, for me, it's Wanzek, though, who didn't finish this race. So what has happened to that car? Came into pit lane early. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's nothing too major. Like you said, you saw a big bit of smoke come out of that car when he geared down. So we'll wait and unfold that. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of this exciting 10-lap race. And what a morning to get things kicked off for the Formula RX-8s. Ambrose and Creel, well, it all started there, didn't he? But have a look at Creel on the outside, just kept it buried. Justin Lewis, super aggressive at the start of the race. And Matty Boylett, well, there's a reason why he's the champion from last year. He wasn't going to lay down and die and take it.
No, he certainly was not. It was great, wasn't it? This battle for position number 2. And they were 3 wide at this point in time. And Lewis came out on top. However, he then made a mistake a couple of corners later, which allowed Ambrose back through. And from there, it was then him looking in the mirrors because through came Boylett for position number 3. There's a bit of a mistake from Wanzek and he nearly ended up in the door of Stacey Vickers. He just about kept that under control.
And I wonder whether that'll be a telltale sign of maybe the damage they've caused on that car too there with the wheels going off in the dirt and spinning. This was at the end of the race, though, the final lap where we thought maybe he had an opportunity, and they tried to do the crisscross in turn number 8 here, Yokohama corner, and there just lost traction and the car went sideways, and you could just feel the moment losing it, like he's losing grips with that moment. He just couldn't quite do it. One more lap, you never know what would have happened.
Exactly right. In the end, half a car length was the margin, and it went the way of Creel. Less than 2/10 officially on the timing screen. What a battle. What a titanic tussle that was. Very much looking forward to their race this afternoon. Then 2 more tomorrow as well. They're busy, the Formula RX8 drivers. Speaking of busy, Melinda Price is down there in the lane.
Matthew Boylett, reigning champion, P3 in that one. You had a whole heap of Justin Lewis in your mirrors those last few laps.
Yeah, he's just all over me. I just couldn't break the toe to him, so just trying to hold him off as much as I could to maintain P3 and somehow catch the front boys.
Well, you 4th yesterday, 3rd in this one. Hopefully keep moving forward.
Yeah, hopefully we can find a bit more pace in the car to keep up with the front two, because they're pretty quick and they pull away a fair bit, so hopefully we can tune it up for the next race.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's definitely a champion, as we thank Dan McCarthy for his time in the commentary box this morning. We're going to move to something that's been very fast out there on track over the weekend, and we'll head back down, though, to our winners here of the Formula RX8 with Mel in pit lane.
And Cadell Ambrose, P2 in that one first yesterday, so it's 1 each now heading into the next race.
It is, yeah. That was a pretty tough race, actually. I got held up a bit at the start in some battles and everything, and that lets Jan get a bit of a gap. And, yeah, I started to catch him towards the end and had a move on the 2nd or 3rd last corner, I can't remember, but yeah, it didn't make it stick, and yeah.
Super close racing in this category, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really close. Like the cars and everything, because they haven't got much power, you get a bit of draft and everything and all that. Yeah, it's good.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our winner in that race in a close finish, Aust Creel. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good race, kind of warm out there. But Cadell did a good job coming, because the first few laps, it seems like they boxed him out a bit, gave me a bit of clean air, and I just sat there waiting for him. I could save a little bit of tyres out there. And yeah, like for us, it's our first time on the Hankooks, getting used to a different formula. I'm racing in the other category in RX8 Cup. So it was good to come support them in formula. But yeah, a little bit different things in the cars. So I'm still finding setup. But yeah, good overall. Yesterday we had some issues with the clutch pedal getting stuck on the start. Felt to the last, and yeah, but all good.
Great job, well done.
Well, the action stays underway here at round 1 of the Hi-Tec All Super Series in season number 4. Nico French joins me here for the Hankook Australian Drivers' Championship that's back to contest it out for another year. Welcome, Nico.
Thank you very much, mate. It's a pleasure to be here, racing the category for 3 years now. I'm excited to watch the action from the commentary box.
Here we go, our leaders getting away. Sterling and Strick are the 2 names we need to talk about. Sterling, our former champion, our race winner this morning. Harry Crick, though, was our number 1 qualifier yesterday. They've already had a race underway, and now we're seeing a lot more people in the mix. What's going on here? We thought there was probably going to be Harry Strick and Damon Sterling taking this away, but we're 4 wide into turn number 1.
Oh my God, you can see the damage that the not having a toe makes coming up the straight. Harry having to battle hard to keep second, but he manages from the outside all the way around, nearly runs into the back of Damon. Oh my God, look at that. And Justin Ewan still managing 4th. Incredible work from him. Mate, this is on.
Yeah, what a start he's had to the season, Ewan, hasn't he? He's been some top 5 finishes already up there in qualifying as well. Smith is in the mix there in 3rd position as well. Oh, we'll see a little bit of dirt. That's a little bit of an error there, I think, from Strick. So Damon Sterling needs to move away, because we've seen it's probably been 2 to 3 tenths of a second once they sort of get into the groove, where Strick has that advantage this season.
That's the cold tyres, mate. It's just the cold tyres, and this is where the experience of Damon is really going to show. You know, the first lap on cold tyres is crucial, and Damon just having those extra years of experience. Strick coming from XLs, this is a big jump up, and you know, to be where he is amazing. A small mistake is definitely going to be acceptable here.
Yeah, Brad Smith still holding out Ewan at the moment. I mean, they're going to get in their own little battle, and have a look at Stasi and Caitlin just behind. Now, look at Stasi probably at the start. He was so good at the end of last season. You know, he's just a little bit further back, so it's just showing how much the competition has started to step up in the Australian Drivers' Championship. Throw a few more names in there, a couple more different things. We're here at the Bend, we're at the West Circuit as well. So, you know, you don't have those big flowing corners like we see at the back like last time we were here, but I mean the big long straight, the toe is a massive advantage there if you're someone behind, if you're following someone else.
Yep, I mean I was saying that to some of the guys in the garage earlier today. The two black cars, Josh and Breno, those guys were highly competitive a year ago, and nothing's changed with them, but look where they are in the grid. I mean, the competitiveness across the grid here is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Hamish Layton, we're leading our Masters as well at the moment. Obviously, a couple of categories here in the Australian Drivers' Championship for those that are a bit more mature. We get the Masters. Look, he had a stunning year last year as well. Here we go, bit of a move on at the moment.
This is another one of our young guys, Rocco Spinley. So he's come up from Formula V's, actually. So another open wheel category step up for him. This is his first race weekend in a hyper racer. So to see him making moves like that is really, really, really good. He's building confidence in the car. He was third in the Formula V Championship last year. Oh, and look at this. Here goes Zach Catlin or Lucas Stasi. We have the manufacturer mechanics. Both of these guys work for Hyper Racer, building these cars back at the factory, and they are wheel to wheel. This is awesome. And look at this. Hamish is loving it.
Look, I think they backed out of that because they know they're going to fix it, right? like they're going, oh no, like going into that corner, oh no, what are we going to have to do in the pits? We keep doing. But have a look at the front. They're nothing between them now, just 0.3 of a second, and the toe down the inside. He has a look. Strick might take the lead here, and he does for just a moment.
Damon around the outside. Oh my God.
Oh, that TFH corner number 2. It's just that you can crisscross it back, can't you, at the moment? If you stay on the outside, if you just want to hang there for a moment, there's still the potential. Strick, though, has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. So he is pushing very hard. Those couple of moments there on the cold tyres has forced him to really push hard here. And as the laps tick down, will that start to work away and take some of that grip away from him as well, which is what we'll have to look at. Sterling, though, he's ice cold.
Absolutely, he is our Kimi Räikkönen. What defined him last year was just clinical perfection, no mistakes, regardless of the pressure. I mean, we had pros step in the likes of Ricky Capo, Zach Best, and nothing could shake this guy. And again, look at that pressure. He is millimeters away. Oh, we might have a no. Look at this, unbelievable stuff. Harry is trying everything he can here, but Damon, he is just, the Fernando Alonso. The track is as wide as his car is. It's unbelievable defense.
Sterling running a very smart race at the moment. And you can see he just gets a good run onto the straight, opens up a tiny gap there, which might be enough with Strick. He's just doing enough defensively to hold him there. I think he's very comfortable to stay on the outside of turn 1. And have a look in the background. We'll see a little bit of movement there. And we're going to see, will Brad Smith be able to get into this with a little bit of toe? He's right on the back of him. So while they fight this out, this is great for Brad Smith, who was third in yesterday's race. This is our top 3 from yesterday going at it again, really. And I think Damon Sterling, he knows that Strick's probably a little bit faster than by 10th or 2.
Absolutely.
But, he's got that composure, that experience. He sleeps between races. He's just so calm.
Yep, it's wild. It's wild. Look, I think we're going to have another move here from Harry around the outside, but Damon's still got the track position. This is an incredible fight going on. Look, if you were Brad Smith right now, you would be loving life. This is another bit of a story we've got within the championship. Brad Smith has been sort of a mid-pack runner for the first year and a half, and then he bought a sim. Put a sim at home, and all of a sudden he was podium places out of nowhere. And look at this, he is right on the back of those two. But I mean, look at the aggressive nature of Harry there, trying to find a way past. I'm getting little glimpses of Calder Park with Damon and Hayden Crossan last year, that epic battle. We're right here with it again. It's so good to see someone taking it to the champ. And a noticeable thing here this weekend is no wind, well, very limited wind. So last time, Harry would have been past Damon every single lap down the straight here in that toe. This weekend, no wind means a lot less toe, and he's just struggling to make that car length up down the inside. And look, we're going to see Damon try to go around the outside again. Let's see how he goes. Brad is loving this find.
Well, he replicated those. He likes to stay on the outside because the left-hander, he gets the run again, Damon Sterling, and he can just cover him off. Now, they're going to need to watch that front nose because quite a bit of aero on there, and that will affect him down the main straight if he clips that with the wheel just slightly. So Strick's going to have to be a little bit smart about this. And for me, personally, I'd be thinking maybe we just go at it, we stop going at it for a lap or two because Brad Smith now...
Oh my God!
Wow, we almost went 3 wide into turn number 6, and you have to be defensive there when you've got people behind you. So you're not taking the optimum racing line. You've got to go down the inside and cover off.
Absolutely, and remember, these guys have no ABS, and you are heel towing effectively to get those downshifts right. So the opportunity to lock a rear wheel when you are doing heavy heavy braking zones like that is real. So these guys are absolutely on the move. That was a late break. Round the outside. Is he going to hold? Oh my God, look at this. Are they going to go too right around the final corner? This is normally flat. He does it. Oh, nearly takes the wing off. Wow, what a move from Harry Strick.
Yeah, he's a young guy too. That takes a lot of effort there to try and do that. There, you really need to take a risk, I suppose, to go around there. And there'd be a lot of drivers that wouldn't do that. So the question now is, can he get away from him? Because have a look at Sterling as he fights back, gets the toe. Now he'll be on the inside. We'll strict do to Sterling what they did the other way around.
Yes, he does.
Here we go. Yep, he gets it done too. So this might make him a little bit safer though as they go around at the moment. As we start to work our way up the track, we'll go through the Dave Pittman Trucks corner. Turn number 5 as well, and he might be able to start to get away here as Sterling tries to fight back, and Strick has to be defensive. It's down into turn number 6 though. Under brakes. Oh, Sterling's very, very late, and they might be looking for a crisscross here. Strick goes wide, Sterling down the inside, Smith still holding on to this pack, and Ewan just in the background now. He is closing that gap up as well, and that's down under 2 seconds as Strick slides the car around. And Damon Sterling still holding on. Oh no, he's up on the dirt. Oh no, Nico, we're 3 wide again.
This is unbelievable. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. And look, Brad's in P2. We've got the championship leader now in 3rd. This is some of the best racing I have seen in this category to date. Unbelievable.
Now Damon Sterling, he just needs to have a look at this. Can just calm down and get back into this. Ewan as well has been impressive again. I'd say he's got a bit of family here this weekend, so he's got a lot of support. He had some races last year where we saw him really start to get in that top 5, and he is starting to dominate again. So I think this is going to give him a lot of confidence, seeing these guys out in front as they go side by side again.
Again, the same move. If you're on the outside there, mate, you've got it.
I think we've just put the same lap on repeat. Is that what we're doing?
Almost.
So Sterling just fights back. He set himself up really nicely down the straight. He said, you know what, I've just got to get composure, get the toe. Here we go again.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, they're going to turn around here. They're side by side again, and this is the moment. He can't be defensive there because he's got the nose in a Strick. He tries to cover off, but of course there's a lot of runoff there too. So if you do get pushed wide, you don't have to get off it as much as, like on other corners where there's dirt or grass or ripple strip. It gives you an opportunity to really stay into the accelerator there. So Damon Sterling's used that. You just seen him get over that ripple strip very quickly, stay on the go pedal, and try and stay in front. And have a look at this. They're going to go at it again as we get ready for the main straight. Strick around the outside.
So late on the brakes, unbelievably late on the brakes, and it's good to see the West Circuit is providing such good racing. Oh my goodness! Wow! No, what a moment.
That could have been disastrous. That was almost contact there. I think Strick did very well. Just dropped a wheel out there, and that's going to be rough in one of those cars, right?
Oh, mate, you feel it up your spine. Absolutely.
So, yeah, he's just dropped a wheel just before the ripple strip there. Now Smith has a look down the inside now. Could have been 3 wide. Smith won't quite get there. Ewan in the background, though. He might battle for a podium position here as well. Why this is all happening, I don't know if Brad Smith has been keeping an eye. What do you do if you're in position? Because you've got this incredible battle out in front, and you've got Ewan behind you. Now, let's have a look at a replay here. This is Strick around the outside. Sterling there. They'll come into this corner there, and there's almost contact made.
I think they did actually touch wheels there. That was so close.
It's a hard-stopping moment, and Strick will take the lead once again for just a moment. That turn number 6, it's very similar to last lap.
Oh, my goodness.
Is there an award for the most amount of times you can change the leaders of a race? Is that what we're trying to do in this series?
I'd like to think there is, because we're absolutely seeing it here today. This is absolutely unbelievable. And look, I'm half expecting Justin Ewan to take an advantage here, because there is so much action going on in front of him. I'd love to see his GoPro after this.
Well, it looks like Strick might have just got enough at the moment. It just went out to 4/10 of a second as they come into the main straight. This is the telltale sign. Can he survive this main straight run? Because if he can still hold a lead at the end of this one, he might be able to start driving away as we get down to the final couple of laps of this race. Number 2 for the weekend for the Australian Drivers' Championship, and great to have Yokohama back on board for another year. Oh, Sterling's going to have a look down the inside. But it's the right-left. The TFH corner number 2, the left-hander. If you can stay on the outside, you've got yourself a bit of advantage. Contact made. I'm not going to say it's a signal because Sterling's not like that. I think that's just an unfortunate part of racing. But it doesn't look like it's done any damage to the wing from this distance.
you would be amazed how much hip and shouldering these cars can take. It's unbelievable. Yeah, no, amazing to see Damon getting pushed so hard. It's so great to see. Is Brad going to be able to take opportunity on the run through to the straight here?
Remembering the dominance of Damon Sterling last year, was there 2 races that he didn't win overall at the end of the series? So like,
there was 2 races, and then there was Sydney Motorsport Park, where Hayden Crossland just dominated. But of course was then subsequently taken away from him again. But besides that round, Damon was absolutely the man last year.
There was only 1 race he wasn't on a podium.
It's unbelievable.
In an entire season.
There is no doubting that Damon has got proper talent. And I mean, clearly, so does Harry Strick and Brad Smith, and unbelievably, Justin Ewan.
Have a look at Stasi on the back of this one now, Lucas. He's doing a fantastic job. And the battle is bringing those 2 drivers in 4th and 5th into this battle pack. So, oh no, where is he going? We don't need them. Lawns mode. What are you doing, Strick? A big moment there, and Smith will go into 2nd position. Is this what Damon Sterling needs just to catch his breath on the final lap of this race?
I'm going to say that was checking the mirrors, mate. He knew the pressure that was behind him, and as he was checking, he just veered slightly off course, and next minute he's lost a place to Brad Smith, who is looking for a career best finish here.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be enough to try and recover that. Damon Sterling now opening up the gap. It's almost down to a minute. Strick's going to be super aggressive, though. He's not going to want to give up 2nd position. Oh, they go very wide, and he's out there again. He's taken signs out as well. That can cause a lot of damage at speed to some of these cars. Now he's back into 4th.
Oh, he's got the sign on his front wing.
Ewan's into 3rd.
What is going on, mate? This is unbelievable.
Have a look at Lucas Stasi. He's having issues, and that sign on the front's not going to help any aero down this last section. Ivan Vanajata. He's a pretty excitable guy.
He's here with Justin Ewan this weekend. He is going to be so excited to see Justin on the podium. Look at him. Come on! Yeah!
I don't think anyone there will hear anything else except him screaming at the moment, and Ewan ends up in 3rd, Stasi in 4th. So look at the speed. So Strick might have had something, maybe something's happened when he went off the grass here, because after that, the car looked a lot less controllable.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be interested to go and talk to him afterwards and find out what's happened there. But I mean, amazing drive from really the entire top 4. Outstanding. But this man, Damon Sterling, well done, my friend. What a race.
Yeah, holding his composure. You look down there, smiling, coming in 7th, Gardner in 8th, Caitlin in 9th as well. As we see our official results here for the the Hankook Australian Drivers' Championship for race number 2. Damon Sterling there taking the win over Bradley Smith, who was up until the final lap. You didn't think he was going to get there. You thought it was a 2-horse race, right? Well, we see Harry Strick now back in 5th position. So Justin Ewan with a podium. Imagine the confidence that'll give him. Imagine the party that's going to happen between race 2 and 3.
Amazing, mate. I'm so proud of little Justin Ewan. We call him a little Japanese, what's the Formula 1 driver?
Tsunoda.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's look, amazing, mate. Amazing. So good to see him up there. Bradley Smith as well. Career best finish. That sim is obviously working for him at home. Getting the laps in on the simulator. Lucas Stasi in 4th. Well done for the manufacturer driver there. Amazing to see.
Yeah, as you can see, Chris Peters rounds out our 14 cars out on track. So Terry Knowles not making it out there for this one there. Chris Peters will be in a world of... He's having a good weekend this weekend. He's idle here, Scotty Pye here this weekend. So they're having a fat time out there. And that's what it's all about, coming to one of these Hi-Tec or Super Series, is just enjoying the other racing that's going on, and the people who are here, as well as the championship that you're involved in as well. But Damon Sterling, check out, I don't know, we've probably got another 10 minutes of highlights to look at, I think, out of this one.
Absolutely, and you can see Harry just falling away with no toe to follow anyone down. Manages to just keep P2. Again, that round the outside move of turn 1 working well for him, but this did not end the fisticuffs that was to come for this race.
I would have thought early on he took the fastest lap of the race, which no one beat, that Harry Strick would have maybe got away once he got in the lead. He just couldn't. Damon Sterling fought back every moment they had. You had the inside of one corner or you had the outside of the next one, didn't you? And they exchanged his positions, and I didn't keep a tally on it, but I reckon we're going to probably change positions at least 15 or 16 times throughout this race.
Absolutely, mate. And I think one of the things that we saw here was Damon on the brakes. You know, Harry just couldn't quite make the move down the straight when he was in second, but when Damon was in second down the straight, he just managed it on the brakes into turn 1 to get back. But look, they're on the edge. They're sliding out of corners. They're side by side. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that was a hard-stopping moment, but this was where everything changed. It just hasn't come in on the blend line there. Got a wheel out on the grass. That might have sucked him out to the left there, and he's out there lawn mowing at the moment. Brad Smith took full advantage of this one, and again, he's gone deep under brakes in 6, which happens quite a lot, which forced him to go wide again, but he caught a sign, Harry Strick. And from then on, we just watched Ewan, who has been waiting there, and takes a podium there in 3rd place. Great fight back from Lucas Stasi, too, to end up in 4th position. Oh, hang on. We actually do have, so that's some of our championship there, but here we go. Coming down to pit lane, a little bit of smoke coming out the back, but that might just be one of those higher Bussa engines. So, oh no, he's getting out very quickly.
That's not looking too good, mate. I reckon we got there. You got the fire extinguisher. I reckon there's something happening there.
Yeah, so he's getting that out.
If this isn't the most entertaining thing you've ever seen, I don't know what is.
Getting in there, we can see all hands on deck at the moment, so we just try and get down to here. Mel, you're down there with all the action on pit lane.
Sure am. P3, a career best so far. Justin Ewan, at what point did you think you'd be finishing that race on the podium?
At no point whatsoever until about the last 30 seconds. Oh my God. This is real, right? Yeah. I can't believe it. That was such a roller coaster of a weekend so far, going up to 2nd in the first race, then dropping back to 5th after the drive shaft failed, and then being on the inside to turn 1, getting up to P4, just comfortably sitting there on the last lap, being like, I'm going to resign myself to 4th place, unless something happens up ahead, then, it'll be P4, and it'll still be a career best, but then the top 3 started fighting, and then I suddenly ended up P3 all of a sudden, so, yeah.
Well, you've got to be there to, got to be in it to win it, haven't you? Well done.
Thank you. Praise God.
Bradley Smith, mate, P2 in race 2 to start your Super Saturday off. What a battle that was for the lead, mate. Can you talk me through that one?
Well, I was those boys were fighting, and I was like, oh, here we go. They're going to take each other out, and I'm just going to come through with the Bradbury here any second. But it was nearly close to that, but we, got a little bit lucky there. Oh, Damon came together down the end there, and then, it was a bit of a battle on that last lap, but I was like, this is mine now, so I'm taking it.
Best of luck with the rest of the weekend, mate. Go get him.
Very much. Cheers.
And our winner, firstly, what a race. You're in 2nd, then you were leading, but now you've stolen the show with a fire in pit lane.
That was intense. That was the best racing I've ever had. I don't know where Strick ended up, but full go to him. He was definitely quicker, so I was just trying to keep him on, and then we were battling, so Bradley ended up near us, and that was just awesome. I was loving it. And then obviously my car's on fire in the pit lane, which is interesting, but she'll be right. We'll be out for the next race.
Yeah, well, we were loving it too, so absolutely hope to see you out there again. Fantastic racing in the hypercars.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, the Hankook Australian Drivers' Championship, putting it on the edge of our seat, Sir Damon Sterling. He is very animated after that race, and fire in pit lane. But we turn our attention to the TFH Hire Legend Cars Australia. Matt Tatani joins me in the box. 2 Matts don't make a right, but we're here to do it.
It is great to be here today, and what a strong grid we have. 7 races for these guys. It's going to be a massive weekend for them, and we've got CXC Racing top 3 lockout for this race here. Consistency is going to be the key.
Yeah, and what we always do in Legends across the weekend, of course, race number 5, we invert the top 12, so that'll be on a bit later on tomorrow morning, I think. So that's going to always throw some interesting racing at it. And of course, our final race comes off where they sit in the points, so there could be some slight changes depending on where they finish. So what I like about Legends is you don't always get, it's not like a repeat of last race. It always seems to be changing up. And last time we were here, I think we got a record of 7 wide. I think we've already seen that in some earlier racing this weekend. We didn't have it on the broadcast, but yesterday's racing was super impressive. Had an incident yesterday, so we lost a couple of drivers. So Brendan Hourigan, unfortunately, isn't going to make it back out there. Maverick Menovari, he is out as well, so those cars, unfortunately, are not going to be returning. Diesel Thomas also, who's a newcomer to the category, obviously with TFH. That thing actually blew up a gearbox as well, so that thing's out as well. That was violently went through the door, unfortunately. I think that's the gear stick. So, been a couple of cars that have retired, but we've still got a strong field with over 30 cars out there this weekend, including former Australian champs Ruben Dansback, who's been very dominant in, well, he wasn't all the way up there in qualifying, but he's won both races so far.
Ruben Dan, a very strong contender, and he is going so well so far. We've seen him in the Tyre Power V8 Super Ute Series doing well this season, and he's back again, and he's had front row lockouts non-stop last year, so he's going to be a one to look out for. And with his team out the front, the top 3 are going to work well together and keep that momentum going, we'll see.
Yeah, Dylan Thomas alongside him there on row number 1. He's the team, IRC Racing, and the wealth of experience he's got. He's a former TO2 champion. He's done improved production. He's raced 6-hour, 12-hour overseas Fun Cup cars. I mean,
you've got a car coming in the pits here. It looks like one of the TFH boys, possibly.
Josh, it'll have to be Josh.
It looks like there's something hanging off the car at the back.
Oh, no, that's Hogan. That's Rob Hogan.
Oh, no.
Now, he has actually had 2 podiums here this weekend. He's been 2nd and 3rd, and he's a former champion as well. So, Rob Hogan already going off with something hanging under the car. I don't know whether they've given him our new card system. If you do have a mechanical issue with your car, it will be like come into pit lane and repair. They may have given him that already, or maybe he's heard that underneath. So Shane Tate there in our budget car rentals, number 147. He's another strong contender, and he's going to be starting out from 7th position on the 4th row of the grid. So look, we're a little bit further back, and I think we are on board with Josh Thomas on board, of course. And of course, we welcome to our coverage, of course, Jai Eccles, who's been part of the TFH team for quite some time now. Down to you in pit lane, Jai.
Yeah, so just a bit of an update here for race 3 of the 2026 TFHI Legend Car Series Australia. Yesterday we saw plenty of action on the racetrack. Obviously 9 sessions this weekend. But for an update, Maverick Kemenavari out for the rest of the weekend. Him and Brendan Hourigan got caught up in a big battle for the minor positions heading into turn 1 yesterday. Maverick's got a very, very sore shoulder this morning, and Brendan Hourigan's got bent chassis the whole way around the rear of his car, including also TFH Hire Legend Cars Australia driver Diesel Thomas is out for the rest of the weekend as he snapped his gear lever, believe it or not, that went through the door and hit him on the upright arm. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of an update here to come for the rest of the race.
Yep. Well, that's look, they were racing hard yesterday. They don't muck around, 7 races, and this is how it's all going to start. Ruben Dad and Dylan Thomas, the teammates out of New South Wales, will start off row number 1. Rob Hogan, that is the question, because he went off with Riley Skinner in the 94. We're meant to be out of row number 2, so Skinner's been very quick. Chase Tippett was our actually qualified number 1. Josh Benno alongside him in the 3rd row, so that's going to be one to watch out for, I think. Ryan Pring, former Australian champion, who's starting further down at a 12th position. He didn't have a great day yesterday, but we know he's got a wealth of experience. So, and Josh Thomas, first time out in Legend Cars, obviously with TFH. We're on board with him, we've got a camera. He went 12th yesterday, then 8th. Never been in a Legend car before. I mean, he's driving everything with wheels, but these are different. These are like slippery go-karts.
He said to us, he's driven an Aussie car, and this is completely different. No aero, so slippery. But here we go for the race start. Holding the inside line, Ruben Den's going to want to cover the inside and make sure he can keep that momentum going. Oh, we're going to go 5 wide at least, I reckon, by the time we get to it.
Waiting to see who wants to try and risk a bit of a toe down here. Oh, he steps down. Skinner in the 94 too as they head down into turn number 1. They're very skirmish under brakes, and Dan's gone backwards. And we see Dylan Thomas actually take the lead in the number 68. Now, being teammates, we know whether they'll work together with this one. Skinner there just in the middle, and I reckon that's Josh Thomas on the outside. So he's used a wealth of experience in racing to know I have to get the toe and I have to get on board here. And that's him out on the outside of Ruben Dan, already up in the 4th position. I reckon he's got a bet going with his dad this weekend too. So I reckon he'll be trying to get a podium.
I've heard about that. I think there's a $1,000 bet if he can get a podium, and he's doing a great job so far. He's already making positions up. And here we go into turn 6. Let's keep it clean, boys.
Tate, that was hard under brakes in the 147 budget car rentals.
Oh,
contact.
No, Josh Thomas. That is right-hand contact there, but he's still going. Hopefully no steering damage there. He's still got momentum.
Chase Tippett in the 71, also very, very quick up into 4th now.
Oh, no.
Car's already out. Seems spun off on the track.
Now, the one thing of these guys, if they have stored them and they haven't put the clutch in, they can't get them started. So fingers crossed they'll get back on track, but we'll stay tuned.
Yeah, looks like Hamish McCluskey, one of those cars, number 11 as well.
Disappointing start. We've got 8 laps here to go.
Yeah, it seems like a short race, but they'll be out there for almost 15 minutes to get these 8 laps done. Look at Ruben Dan, already up into 2nd position, but he's under threat here. It's the toe down him. We've seen him change positions twice sometimes as they go down the main straight. I'm sure Dylan Thomas won't be upset if it's Ruben Dan going past him, but they won't want to try and invite any other teams into this. You see him 3 wide there already. Have a look at Chase Tippett and Riley Skinner. They're all going there. Poor Dylan Thomas relegated back to 4th position. Skinner around the outside, the 94. Can he hold on though? The left-hander. Tippett puts his nose in as well, and Ruben Dan has to be a little bit defensive at this point.
See, Chase has got the outside line here, so he might get a bit more speed, but it looks like he's going to hold 3rd position. He got his first pole position yesterday. He is a strong contender for this series as we go on board with Josh Thomas here. He's still in control. Looks like there's no mechanical damage from that hit. He might go for a cheeky one on the outside here, and Ruben Dan as well, holding the outside line. We almost might go 3 wide.
It's hard in turn number 6 because turn number 6, if you come down, if you stay on the outside, you can't be defensive. So whoever's in the lead has to be defensive and come on the inside, and it sort of opens you up to be under attack if you don't. Skinner still leading us. Tippett behind now. Dan in third position, and have a look. Is that Ryan Pring using that wealth of experience he's had? He's had 2 Australian title wins and a championship win as well.
Skinner would be saying right now, you boys keep fighting for second and third. Let me get a gap. He does not want to be in that toe margin.
Let's have a look on board. Here's the replay. Comes in. It's the right-hander. Everyone, like we say, has to watch out. There might have been, I reckon, Ruben down on the grass there for a second. Now, Tate's put his nose in. Chase Tippett was right behind him. He's gone out wide, Josh Thomas, and yeah, he's tried to rejoin and just... I don't think Shane Tate had anywhere to go because he had cars on the inside of him as well. That's the other incident, yeah.
It seems like quite the late break in there.
It's McCluskey.
I've done that at XLs before. A bit too late on the brakes and quite a hard hit.
This is Thomas. It looks like Walden in front of him.
Josh has got a lot of work now to climb back up. He was so strong in that first lap. So, pace car out, yellow flag. We've got a couple yellow cards as well.
Yes, and that's what we've been talking about, our card system this weekend. So the pace car will come out and just slow the pack down as they get around. And it looks like we will have a recovery. I'm going to say it's the cars on turn number 6 that went off. So keep this in mind. Ryan Pring's got a yellow against him, which I think he had coming into this race. Reed and Melville as well. But a red card for O'Brien. Let's head down for an update in pit lane, though, with Jai.
Well, alongside we have Maverick Kemenavari. Maverick, not the start to your 2026 season you're looking for. As you know, bump drafting with Brendan Hurrigan yesterday afternoon in race 1. It's not the way you want to start, mate, but good to see you're okay.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit sore, but it was a bit of a scary crash. It's one of those freak racing incidents, you know. I'm not going to comment too much on it because the blame's not on either of us, really. For sure. It was a big hit. Brendan's car, unfortunately, is much worse off than mine. It was a big hit.
Much of a rebuild heading into round 2, or is the car looking okay?
Yeah, it's going to be a big rebuild. Frame's really twisted, so the whole front half of the frame's going to be cut off.
Great to see you're okay, mate. See you at round 2.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, it was unfortunate yesterday, wasn't it? It was a heart-stopping moment when we saw it actually impact. We caught up with him last night. I ran into him and he said his shoulder's very sore, but looks like nothing broken at this stage. So that's good news. It's good news.
A very scary crash. Glad to see he's okay, but it's just so unfortunate that early in the weekend, and Maverick's shown great promise coming into this series. So they got a lot of work to do before round 2, but either way, as long as the car can be rebuilt, it's going to be great to have him back.
Yeah, he was a real contender last year. We saw him in the top 5 quite frequently in the back half of that season as well. And Ruben Dan, though, he's going to have to work hard for this one. He's going to have to fight for it. Now, he came into the series last year at Malala, so he only did the last 2 rounds, 5 races in each of them. So he had 8 wins out of 10 races, and the only ones he didn't win were the reverse top 10. So, you know, he is very dominant. And for such a young kid who, I don't even think he's got his road license, he's now racing Super Utes as well. I mean, it's incredible to see what he's done in the sport in such a short period of time.
He's gone from a tiny car to a massive car, but it's so good to have him back. He's going to be one of our promising ones for this season. We've seen what he did last year, and look, he's going to be quite smart here. Once we get the pace car lights off, he's going to have the slipstream. He's going to be smart about it and say, hey, I want to hold behind the back of these 2 front runners, get the toe, and aim for the last lap to get an overtake for that front position.
Yeah, once this pace car goes off and they get restarted, we single file restart again. We've got that starting zone where the leader will lead us out. So it's going to be up to Skinner. He's got about 100 metres where he can choose to go. But read the names further down when you think of experience outside of Dan. Is you got Dylan Thomas, probably one of the most experienced racers out there. Ryan Pring, Australian title holder, multiple Australian title holder. Shane Tate, Josh Thomas back in 8th. Benno is there in 9th. I mean, you just look at the names that are in the top 10 there in a single file restart where we know the bump draft is so important in these cars down the main straight. Anything could happen on the restart of this race.
That is a massive factor. It's amazing to see such a mix of talent from young upcomers to people that have wealth of experience out here. Look, the big key here is to see as a safety car, as pace car lights go out, is who's going to be committed into turn 1. I mean, look, Chase Tippett, he's going to be a promising one as well. Does a lot of E-Series racing as well with the legend cars, so we would love to see him get a podium for this weekend.
Yeah, we'll wait and hold our breath because this one's going to be an exciting restart. As the lights go out on our pace car now, so that means we're going to get a restart this time around. We've still got ourselves a few laps to run in this race. 5 laps remaining it is for our TFH Hire Legend Cars Australia Championship as well, and it's great to have a full field here once again. We are missing a couple of names there, obviously from earlier in the weekends we discussed earlier, but I'm sure they'll be back to fight it all. But here we go, let's get excited. They're already pulling out and looking for some fresh air here, and they're going too wide as we just go past the start zone. We haven't even got to the end. We will come up over this slight hill, and then it's going to be hard under brakes. Have a look at Ruben Dan, has a look. Oh, it's Dylan Thomas actually in the
Chase
68.
Tippett's looking on the inside of turn 1. It looks like he's going to commit to that. Even Josh Thomas got a fantastic run. And then Chase Tippett taking the lead of the race down the inside as they all get through pretty clean.
Yeah, Boynton there in 11th position as well, trying to move up. Chase Tippett in the 71 though, he's got it over Skinner. Very fast in qualifying, was the #1 qualifier.
The car looks fantastic now. He's going to hold this out, but how far ahead can he get? Is he going to defend down the inside of turn 6? Ruben Dan looks hungry. What's he going to do? A little bit of turf getting rubbed off there. And Ruben Dan hard on the brakes on the outside line as we go to our drone shot here. He's going to do the undercut, pass through the inside. There's a lot of dirt on the inside of that corner.
You don't want to be there, do you? So get on board with Josh Thomas once again, already up into 6th position. Like, well, he's just gone back to 7th. Tate's got him. So Tate just gone past him and gone back into 7th position there. The Budget Car Rentals entry, another former Australian champion. So a wealth of experience there. Josh Thomas, well, he's in a car every weekend almost. So I think despite this being his first weekend in a legend car, he's got a wealth of experience across so many forms of motorsport. That's probably why we see him in the top 10 at the moment. I mean, the names that are alongside of him are unbelievable. He's just, and I say that, it looks like he's just gone wide again. So probably not where he wanted to be there. Sims might have just gone past him as well. Duckworth there in the 160. Could see him back with a new livery as well. And have a look down the main straight. You got the toe in check, and Dan is having a look to try and get a position back. Pring also in the background, having a look at the back of Dylan Thomas, and he'll step it out in the 333. Now, Thomas will have to be a little bit defensive, but Ryan Pring just outbraked himself a little bit yesterday, and will he try and keep his composure as Chase Tippett holds on to this one over Skinner?
Really strong. Looks like the toe was catching him, but Chase still holding on to P1. He's got 2 laps to go, so he's going to be fighting really hard there. Hope if Skinner and Dan keep battling, he might get away. As we go on board with Josh Thomas, he is definitely promising. Double duties this weekend racing in the TA2 series as well. He's going to be learning so much every single race. He's already got so much experience, but every race we've seen him get faster and faster, so he could be at that front row by the end of the weekend as we go down to turn 6 again. Ruben Dent looks like going a little wide there. Back on course in P3.
Yeah, I think not afraid to go over that ripple strip to maintain the momentum. They're not a big horsepower car, so it's not like you can spin out and you immediately have your speed back in these cars. So momentum is a big thing. If you're going to go wide in a corner, better to keep the pace, I suppose, and just have to go a few extra metres rather than get out of the throttle. And so with the bonnet now starting to come loose on Chase Tippett. So we'll watch that as well. I know we've only got a couple of laps left in this race, but if that bonnet starts to flap around, one, it impedes your sight because you are sitting down very low in the car. Second of all, whether some of the officials will not be happy about that flapping around either.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. He's going to be a bit worried about that, so hopefully it hangs on a little wide there. But Chase Tippett, he's going to want to get as far as he can ahead. The toe's going to affect him with Skinner and Dan on his tail. What are they going to do into turn 1? These top 3 here, top 4, top 5 have got away into the inside of 1. Ruben Dan looks like he's going for the inside, but no, he's going to back off this time around. You know, they've got a little bit more time. They want to pace themselves here. They don't want to, you know, jump the queue.
And it'll depend on the headwind as well, especially when they go past. Oh no, Chase
little
Tippett.
Slide there. And we said momentum is everything, and something like that will cost you so much time. Those tiny little mistakes in a car like this with low power is going to hurt.
I'm really enjoying Ryan Pring taking on Dylan Thomas in the background as well. So, although we've got 5 cars fighting out, Pring has a look down the inside. Now, Tippett going to have to be defensive here, and Dylan Thomas knows that inside line.
One thing you might see Chase doing is just slowing down a little bit at the apex to slow the 2 guys behind him. That would be a good defense tactic, and it looks like it seems to be working.
Yeah, Ruben Dan just gets past Skinner at the moment, puts a 111 into 2nd position.
Ruben's going to be thinking, okay, eyes forward. I don't have much time left. Let's just go for Chase at the front. And the gap is still close here as we see a battle for the P4 down the inside. And it looks like he secured that one there, which is great. All right, coming up to our last lap after this one. Chase Tippett just got under a second of a gap from Ruben Dan. Dan's going to have to be full focus here. Oh, checkered flag it looks like.
No white flag out there. So we've still got final lap out here now for our Legend Cars Australia. It's their third race of the weekend. 7 they've got. It's a big weekend for them on the calendar. Ruben Dan's used all that draft and he's having a look down the inside. That might just be to get a bit of fresh air there in the car and have a look. We're almost close enough to give the Morse code signal.
He's closed that gap so much here. A lot of pressure on Chase Tippett. He has to get everything perfect here because I can guarantee you Ruben Dan is going to be looking to take an overtake at turn 6 or the final 2 corners. But he's looking down the inside here as well. Around 5, is he going to hold it? He's going to have that outside line and Chase getting a little bit slippery there. But Ruben Dan's going to be patient with that.
It's not going to be where you want, and Tippett knows he's going to have to run down the inside of 6. Dan just having a look for his moment once again. He's got to
slow him down there.
Pring and Thomas going at it for 4th position as well. Now, Pring's come from 13th to be up here, so 5th is not bad from him as a bit of a recovery this weekend. But he's
a
giving
massive
it to
comeback, and
Dylan
he's
Thomas.
sliding it. He's pushing every last ounce as we come to the final 2 corners. Chase Tippett, he has to get this perfect. He's going to go defensive the last 2 corners. Ruben Dan, he's going to try the outside line. Oh, and hard under brakes. Oh, no! Brake failure for Ruben Dan.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, didn't it? Maybe the pedal just went there. He might have cooked the fluid potentially. We'll have to finish this race off, though. Now it's going to be Skinner on the back of Tippett. It's going to be Tippett leading us down the main straight. Will Chase Tippett get a race win? Skinner will end up in 2nd. Pring might hold on to 3rd here, but Dylan Thomas, can he do it? Oh, no, he can't. Dylan Thomas ends up in 4th. Tate in 5th. O'Brien 6th. Haynes 7th. Thomas back in 8th where he started, and Jordan Sims 9th. Tim Reed in 10th. Now, the biggest question is what happened to Ruben Dan? It looked like the brakes didn't work.
At first it looked like, oh, he's going late, but it looks like he had no braking at all. That's a really scary one. Luckily, he stopped right at the end of that sand trap there on the 2nd to last corner. So close. Hopefully he is okay. But Chase Tippett taking his first win in the TFH Legend Car Series. Congratulations. What a race that was.
Yeah, it was incredible there, and you've got to give it up for Skinner as well, who fought in the 94, and you can see they've just got a little bit of respect for each other, don't they, as they get the hands out the window. And here's your official results. Chase Tippett will get the win over Riley Skinner, with Ryan Pring coming from 13th to end up 3rd, with a yellow card, though, against his name, but that was from yesterday. So
still
keep that in mind.
courteous.
You can have 3 for the weekend before you go red. Dylan Thomas ended up in 4th. Shane Tate was doing well in the budget car rentals entry in the number 147 as well. Josh Thomas stays in 8th. He had a bit of a yo-yo session, didn't he? He went up the field, he went down the field, he ended up back in 8th.
He's going to be a strong contender this weekend. Had a little incident at the first lap there, but what a session that was. Another yellow card there for Scott Melville, but obviously Ruben Dan's the big question is how is he going to come back from this? He'll be starting in last place, and that's going to ruin his hopes for this weekend.
Yeah, Benny Goodrich, good to see him up in 15th too, because he had mechanical issues yesterday, so he started off rear of field, so he's done a good one to get through there. We can just keep the results coming, isn't it? It's a big field here. Now, Hamish McCluskey was one of those cars that went off on turn number 6. Hopefully that's a minor incident. Let's check out some of the highlights that we've got here from the TFH Hire Legend Cars Australia, because there's going to be a few to go through. I mean, we've had some fantastic racing going down the straight. The lead is, I don't think a front row is an advantage when it comes to Legend Cars. I think you're actually better off being in the 2nd or 3rd row.
You actually are. Like we said, momentum's everything, and that toe here on the West Circuit is so important. What a fantastic field. This was a pretty scary accident, which resulted in the pace car coming out. Could have been a brake failure there. We're not too sure, but then we got the race restarted. Chase Tippett was hungry for his first win, and Ruben Dan losing that lead there, and Chase following behind. This battle was going on all race.
These 3 were absolutely epic throughout this entire race. I think when you look at Skinner, Tippett and Ruben Dan, Dylan Thomas played a part in the background. This was the restart after we had to recover those cars and McCluskey. Now, Ryan Pring had come from the background. He was lurking at this stage, and he needed this to really get on the back of Dylan Thomas. The restart helped them as they all sort of bunch up. They did really well there to only go 3 wide in some sections. We've seen them go 7 at some points throughout the racing here at the Bend. Riley Skinner holding in the background. I think he was waiting for a moment there, but this was a heart-stopping moment where we saw Ruben Dan just go flying off the track at the second last corner there. It looked like total brake failure. He managed to turn the car around. Gravel's done its job. We can see him move inside the car. So that's a great sign. Hopefully that goes well. Chase Tippett, that meant he just had a little bit of breathing room there, and he could hold out Riley Skinner there in the end.
You can see in the crowd his dad cheering up there. What a special moment for him. We've got reverse grid coming up, though. That's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, that's race number 5, the invert top 12. So that's going to be a real one to watch later on today. Have a look at here at the Bend Motorsport Park here in South Australia. It's an incredible facility. Of course, we are doing just the 12 corners on our West Circuit as we head into 8 cylinders of horsepower now as the TA2 Racing Muscle Car Series gets back underway. We welcome into the commentary box Matt Nolte and Jared Hughes.
Thank you, Matty Kavanagh. Great to be here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park in 2026. I keep teasing everybody about how good this place is this time of the year, and look at this weather on a Saturday morning. And what a day it's been so far. What a weekend it's been so far. And a very different looking TA2 Muscle Car Series it is in 2026 with a 2-day format. And practice this morning over 45 minutes. We've got a whole fleet of new stars. Now, reigning champion has decided to take up the reins in commentary. It's a big welcome to Jared Hughes, mate. What a season we've got in store.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Thanks for welcoming me in the box there, Matty. It's going to be cool to sit next to you for this round, but I think it's going to be a big year, isn't it? Big Gomo's coming back for another year, and there's a lot of names that are coming back for a big year, or new names, like we've got Cody Garland, Joel Heinrich, who did a round at the end of last year. But there's going to be some heavy hitters. I think this is going to be one competitive year.
And a very quick fire 15-minute qualifying session on the shorter West Circuit for a lot of these drivers. This morning was their very first look at this track. I think this is going to serve up some incredible action over the next couple of days here. We love the international course, but there's something about this short track with 19 cars out on here is going to be hectic in this session.
It is certainly going to be hectic, and I think the biggest thing to think about too, it's a shorter track. It's going to be curious to see if these guys can get the tyres up to temp ready for that first lap, or whether it's actually going to be a second lap adventure. This is a different tyre. We ran it a little bit at the end of last year, but this is a different tyre. So these guys are probably going to have to do a bit of experimentation to see when the tyre's going to be ready to rumble.
This guy has had plenty of experience. We talk about multi-time Aussie racing car champion Joel Heinrich, who's turned thousands of laps here at the Bend Motorsport Park and knows this West Circuit probably better than anybody else out there. So we'll watch for him in the Ash Jarvis Racing Prepared, number 16, the Osborne Transports entry. One of the oldest cars in the fleet, incidentally, that's Russell Wright's championship-winning car from 2017.
That's got some pedigree now, doesn't it?
But the good news is there'll be a brand new car for Heinrich later on in the season, so we're looking forward to seeing that. I'm excited the fact that both he and Cody Garland are in this series after that unforgettable moment at Adelaide on the very last corner of 2025.
Crazy. That was probably one of the most hectic finishes to a championship I think we've probably seen in Australia, isn't it? But it's good to see a lot of these guys stepping up from Aussie cars and a lot of different categories feeling, oh, that's a big moment at the last turn. But no, it's good to see these guys stepping up into these cars. I think they're realising how cool these things are. And now we're starting to see a bit of a look at what the time's going to be. 1:20.5, I reckon it's going to be a lot quicker than that.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's have a look at this moment.
So this is Brock Payne, who dominated the final round at Winton and just running out of racetrack. They keep adding concrete further and further back, but there is a limit to how far. And of course, it is a limit coming off the track there too for your times. Alice Buckley sitting in pit lane still at the moment, full time with Chevrolet Performance for 2026. A big thanks to TFHI once again for bringing today's broadcast of the first round of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series back in South Australia. Hey, it only feels like we walked out of Winton yesterday, but it was like 3 months ago already.
Yeah,
it feels like we never had an off-season.
I know, this year has gone so fast. You just can't keep up with what's going on, but it's good, isn't it? It's good to be here. It's good to be getting ready for a big year of TA2 Motorsport racing, but Gomaso, he's had a purple first sector, but hasn't been as good in the second. You can hear the tyre probably just isn't hanging on for this second lap, so it probably is going to be a first lap adventure for these guys. But you just hear it protesting. He's come out of there a little bit cleaner than Brock Payne. Not much cleaner though, just keeping on the track. But these things are a handful to wrestle around this West Circuit, I can tell you.
Gomasol, who improves on that time to go 20.4 to be 7/10s clear. Brock Payne responds just behind aboard car 33 in pit lane. Pip Casabine, one of the many rookies we have in this year's series. I think that car was called in for the door dangling on the side of the 19. Down in 18th position at the moment. Josh Thomas is about to set his lap. So interesting watching Alice Buckley. Is that by design, waiting to get out there with a short session, wait for the other drivers to lay some rubber perhaps?
Yeah, it's certainly a risky tactic, isn't it? They're waiting for maybe a little bit more rubber or just trying to get an idea of what times other people are doing. But it's risky. If there's a red flag, could be in a world of hurt, but we'll see what you can pull out. But Tommy Smith, gone to the top of the timesheets with a 20.4. That's a damn good effort by Tommy, actually.
Yeah, Tommy, who was here in the Trans Am event last year, subbing in for Jack Smith. Expect those two to pair up for the Tag Team Enduro event, which is going to be earlier this year at Queensland Raceway. Usually it's the middle part of the year, but it's going to go straight into it at our second round in May.
Just send it. That is the best event, but look at how cool that SCT car looks. Oh, I gave him the commentator's curse then, but that car looks unreal. But that's a really good effort by Tommy. I don't think he's done many laps around the West Circuit, and he certainly hasn't done a huge amount of laps in this car. But Tyler Cheney, watch out, he's coming from down in 16th. He's got a purple first sector. It's a pretty fast first sector as well. 3/10 up on Tom Smith's first sector, his personal best. So we'll have to keep an eye on what he's going to pull out.
Very laid-back character is Tommy Smith, and happy to be home after several seasons over in Europe and a stint over in the USA last year in the Indy Next Series. But happy to be back and happy to have a real crack at the TA2 Muscle Car Series, as well as his Super 2 campaign with Matt Stone Racing. And that announcement was kept pretty quiet, wasn't it? You think about the magnitude of a team like MSR stepping up with not one, but 3 cars in this year's series, as Tyler Cheney goes up into one with that lap at 20.25, but it's only 900ths of a second between he and Tommy Smith.
And he's going to get a bit of traffic potentially on this next lap. Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to back out of that one. But that's a good lap. He needed to pull that one out. They obviously waited a little bit longer before they get their run. But this could hurt him. He's had his second lap taken away from him because of that traffic. So curious to see whether that lap hangs on. But let's see what the local hero's got to offer in Heinrich. He knows my rear bumper really well after Malala. So he definitely knows the South Australia roads really well.
At the moment, your pole margin of .003 is safe between Cheney and Smith. But I wonder if that's going to tighten up. It was just 0.8 of a second covering the top 10, and that speaks volumes for racing on this style of racetrack as Heinrich heads towards the finish line. It was at 21.1 on that previous lap. He stays in 5th. So it's Cheney, Smith, Gomersall, Payne and Heinrich that you're right on board with down to turn number 1. Jackson Rice in the Hi-Tec Oils car runs in 6th with Cody Garland. Brand new Ford Mustang being prepared by Garage 21. We'll talk about them over the course of today. Behind is Diesel Thomas. Clint Rayner makes his first series debut. He was a non-championship starter over in the West last year. And Kiara Zabatakis returns after missing the balance of last year in the second of the Garage 21 entries.
Yeah, it's good to see her coming back. She had a rocky start to last year, and obviously that caused us to have a little break and look back and see what they need to do better. But it's awesome to see her coming back with that Garage 21 outfit to see what she can do this year. But Alice, they've taken the covers off, taken the tyre warmers off, and now it's send it out for the first flyer. It's looking pretty lively, that car, but that's how these things like to be driven.
And by that you mean they push the car out into the sun.
Yeah, no tyre warmers here. No tyre warmers here. Slight lock, but that's where this tyre is quite good. It's a little bit forgiving when you do get a slight lock on the front axle. You can make it work throughout the corner. A little bit different to a supercar. If you get a lock, you may as well forget about the apex, whereas these ones are a little bit more forgiving. But who's this? We've got Josh Thomas. He was 2 green sectors and backed out of this one. Maybe potentially with an issue. Seemed like he was actually on for a good lap there. But speaking of a good lap, Alice Buckley, even with that lock, a purple middle sector. So we'll be very curious to see what she can top this one off with.
In his Carlton Zero entry, being prepared by Waltec Motorsport this year with Tyler Cheney, who you know pretty well. You guys wrapped up the Tag Team Enduro event a couple of years ago on the bigger circuit.
Yeah.
And where did that 20 grand go, by the way?
I think we put it all on, I put it all on red, he put it on black, and then we pulled out a green. So it wasn't too good. No, that was an awesome event, that one. And Tyler, that was his first ever race in a TA2 car. So I think this is going to bring back some pretty cool memories for him racing back here at the Bend. Obviously different circuit this time, but he's had a bit of luck here. So it's going to be good to see what he can do. He's doing pretty well so far. Must have been that co-driver.
Must be. 7 cars in pit lane as the track goes quiet. So for Alice Buckley, she improves on that time and goes up into 5th position now, the 20.9 to give us 3/10 covering the top 5. So we qualify this morning. We have a race this afternoon, and the result of that sets the grid for race number 2. But then tomorrow we qualify again in the morning and rinse and repeat.
Someone's had a slight adventure, but just to touch on that point, Matt,
please.
How good is it that you do, if you have a bad Saturday, your weekend's not written off.
Yeah.
You got a chance to sort of resurrect yourself on the Sunday and show everyone what you got. I love that platform. It gives you 2 shots at actually showing everyone what you can do and what car pace you've got. So it's a really great program that they've got organised.
Worked well for you in 2025 as Patrick Neville gets a time on the board at least in the Stroud Homes entry. This is the second one. Welcome back Chris Smurden, who's been doing this gig for over 4 decades. Hasn't raced since about 2021 in Super 3 when it was mixed in with the Super 2 program. Was around in the golden era, some would say, the Australian Touring Car Championship, more known for running ex-Larry Perkins cars or Larry Perkins built cars in this series. A South Australian just loves his motorsport, but has never driven a left-hand drive car until this morning.
I tell you what, when you hop, I was lucky that I did it quite early in my car racing career, but for a person hopping out of a right-hand drive car for the whole career and hopping in a left-hand drive and the shifter on the right and everything, it must be so. Actually, he might have been the guy I heard before. He was running a millimetre away from the pit wall, not on the track. He was still in the pits. He was running about a millimetre away from that wall. So I reckon that's probably him. I'd say.
World, yeah.
It's a different world for sure. But I think looking at this timesheet there, Matt, I reckon hopefully my thing at the start about the first lap is probably going to be right. I just don't think the tyre. Alice is trying to go for another one here, but it just isn't lining up the timesheets. I think this tyre's got enough in it for that first, maybe second lap, but it just doesn't have that same edge when you try to give it another crack. So we'll see him probably press on to try and learn a little bit more about the car and the track before they get to the race, but I don't think we're going to see too much more action on the timesheet, especially at the top of the leaderboard there.
6/10 away from her best time, so that was back up your claim. I think she's going to cool the Jets down now in the Chevrolet Performance entry. Pole position in her first weekend at Queensland Raceway, went on to win 4 races, including the tag team enduro with Tim Slade. And while the racetrack might be quiet, same can't be said for pit lane. It's a unique setup here this weekend at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park because we've got 2 cars per garage. And when the cars have been coming in, we found out this morning, is you can't pull up in front of your garage when there's 2 cars. You're kind of double parked.
Yeah, you got to share the space. There's a couple of blokes making some good friends down there.
Yeah, or enemies.
Yeah, or enemies. Hopefully you don't have a shunt with the neighbour in your garage.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? Obviously it's not ideal having 2 cars in one pit. But I think that just adds to the atmosphere that this category's got. You know, everyone's really friendly to each other, all happy to help out if you need a hand. And just having that shared atmosphere is really, really great. But we've got a couple of guys having a quick cheeky look at the timesheets. They've hopped out, realised they're probably not going to extract anything out of the car. And they've decided to park it up and have a look at the timesheets.
While we've been chatting away here in the commentary box, Tommy Smith is in fact improving on the first sector. Pip Cassabine is up to 3rd on debut. The Cassabine group, number 19, that was in the pits early, is in 3rd position on debut, ahead of Gomersall, Buckley and Brock Payne that you're watching. Tommy Smith in the background here, 26.02 to the second sector. I mean, it's only 900ths of a second. It'll have to be a Banzai final sector for Smith, who does it. It's a 21.4, but to be .090 in his maiden weekend at TA2. That's very impressive. And Scott Pye, welcome to you on our coverage this year as well. That is mighty impressive from some of these rookies.
It is, and Benny Gomes was no rookie, that's for sure, and he's currently P4. I just caught him watching the monitors at the end. How'd you feel about your lap? Are you confident that's going to hold up there, mate?
Yeah, no, lap felt pretty good, to be honest. There's a lot of quick guys in the category this year, so yeah, just got pipped at the end there. But look, P4, it's a solid spot, so we'll see how we go.
How do you feel about these rolling starts? A long run down into turn 1, so P4 might not be too bad of a position.
Yeah, obviously with the go zone, it gives the leader a bit of an advantage, so you kind of just got to play it by ear and see how it all unfolds, really.
A little bit of insight on the tyres. How long does it take to get them up, and then how many laps do you have in them in qualifying to lay a time? Because we have seen a few guys re-pressure and go again.
It's pretty similar to the Dunlop hard that we have in Super 2. It's kind of like, you know, you got to do it at the start. You get 2-3 laps, and if you don't do it, then you're done, right? So you got to do it at the start.
I appreciate it, Benny. Good luck for the race, mate. Cheers.
Kiara Sabatakis, great to have you back in TA2, and you must be happy with that qualifying.
Oh yeah, no, look, it wasn't too bad because we haven't really been here before, so I think for a lot of people just trying to get everything and put it all together, I think that's the key thing, obviously, but yeah, it feels good to be back. We didn't really have much testing, to be honest, beforehand. Just sort of done up the car and thought, you know what, let's just go with it, be confident about it. With Garage 21 this year, so yeah, super excited.
Well, we're watching that gap get smaller and smaller as you move further up, so have a terrific weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's great to have her back. Thanks, Mel, down in pit lane, along with Scott Pye, covering all the action down in pit lane. Session's starting to wind down. We're watching with interest the in-car from Josh Thomas. He was having quite the day out, or at least quite the sector out on that previous lap.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a handful. We'll have a quick watch of how his car's performing, but yeah, I think he's just lost that edge. You're trying to get on the throttle, but the tyre just doesn't give him the amount of grip that he's hoping for on his quali lap. Yeah, it's just lost that edge with that green tyre, but he's still pressing on, probably just trying to, he's got a green sector. It's still a long way off, but he's probably just trying to get some recon, so he's got a bit more of an idea. I think he had a bit of a drama in practice this morning, so he's just trying to figure out what the go is. Bit of mowing there, that's good. There's a little bit of a shortcut, but you got to make the track a bit shorter on this West Circuit. There's a few things that are different that work, which is why it's so entertaining.
Normally would be going left down there at turn 6 and they disappear out of sight. It's a much more fan-friendly experience here as well. You can sit up on top of the roof here and see the entire track as the session is coming to an end. And Josh Thomas may just improve here. It was at 26.5 on the previous sector. It might have killed all that momentum he had through sector 1. And he brings the TFH Ford Mustang that he shared with Todd Hazelwood a few years ago in the tag team enduro race. One spot made puts him up into the 6th row with Clint Rayner just ahead. At the end of a very busy but drama-free session, no red flags, and Tyler Cheney, who's full-time this year in the TA2 Muscle Car Series, has pole position by 0.090 of a second. Tim Brook pats him on the back down here in pit lane, and that is a tight margin. Not the closest one we've had in TA2 muscle cars, but Tommy Smith will join him on that front row. Pip Casabine out of 3, Gomersall out of 4, and Alice Buckley will start from 5. That's a good session.
That's going to be a wicked. You see Graham pretty happy of Ed Karen. That's awesome. Tim Brooks, he's obviously done a bit of racing in his career, and he's going to be stoked about that. He's worked really closely with Tyler, but I think we're going to have an entertaining race. What do you reckon?
I tend to agree. And it's only a short amount of time, too, before they're out for the race. Just under an hour before we regroup. So what might have been quiet yesterday is going to be a very hectic day here with Cheney on the pole for race 1 of the TA2 Muscle Car Series in 2026. Tommy Smith on the front row. Pip Casabine and Ben Gomersall on row 2. Alice Buckley and Brock Payne. Joel Heinrich starts out of 7 with Jackson Rice, Cody Garland and Diesel Thomas all featuring inside the top 10. Last year's Rookie of the Year aboard the TFH Mustang. Over the page, Clint Rayner, who makes a full-time start out of Western Australia in the Perth Forklifts entry for Ash Jarvis Racing. Josh Thomas, Kiara Zabatakis in 13th, back to Cam Laws, Robbie Farr, Des Collier, Danny Reedy in 17th, Steve Wilson, Chris Smurden and Patrick Neville of the 20 cars contesting round 1. As we go down to pit lane, here's Scott Pye.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with Tyler Cheney. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. Just talk us through the lap, mate. You almost look as relieved as you are ecstatic after that one.
Yeah, no, I was sort of, green tyre, you obviously got to try and optimise it. Yeah, still a little bit in it, just setup-wise and just me as a driver, just a few silly mistakes in that, and just main thing is apex hunting and everything.
I love it, mate. There wasn't a lot of apex hunting out there, but I will say, I saw you come in, take a tyre bleed and went back out there. Was that just you felt like there might have been a little bit more in it yourself? And I saw there's only 1/10 of a second between you and second. So was that just to make sure you're on track to try and cover off if there was a response?
Yeah, obviously Tommy Smith, he was pretty close. So just to be safe, we sort of just want to circulate just in case he put a lap on or anyone behind him. But yeah, I think there's still a little bit more in it. So if we needed to, I reckon if we got the lap together, we should be able to keep it in front.
How do you feel about the car's handling ahead of the race this afternoon?
Yeah, no, I think the car's great. Wartec, they've done a great job, set up the car, done a few test days, trying to optimise what we can get out of the car and me as a driver. But yeah, no, it's been good.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic start to the weekend. Great job. Nice qualifying.
Thank you.
Doesn't get much better than that. Well done. Number 1 starts from the pole for race 1. It comes up here at 1 o'clock our time. You can catch all the action on SBS and KO from 1 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 here in South Australia. We'll take you through all the afternoon's action at the opener at the Bend, round 1 of this year's Hi-Tec Oils Super Series on a cracking day here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park.